AFL Saturday. Let's jump straight into the warm-up.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. 7 months ago, we were at Bayswater hailing the success of South Croydon. But now, 2018 is upon us, the start of a new season, 44 clubs wanting to win the ultimate prize. And today it all kicks off here at Moreton Park in the big Easter clash on Good Friday between Blackburn and Doncaster. Two of these sides last year played off in finals, and this year they'll be hoping to go one step further. Well, without further ado, I'm going to introduce our panel. My name is Wayne Brasher. I'm your host for this afternoon. And joining me to my left for pre-match, it's a very warm welcome and welcome back for season 2018 to the media manager, Dan Sensick. Good afternoon, Dan.
Yeah, good afternoon, Brash, and to all the listeners out there. It's fantastic to be out here on such a special occasion today. Remarkably, both sides have played each other fairly recently as well. Round 18 in the elimination final, and the Sharks have played the Panthers today for a third consecutive time. So they met them in round 18, the elimination final, and today Good Friday. So they've known no other opposition in the past 3 games they've played than Blackburn. So speaking to Andrew Tranquilli through the week, he's tinkered with a few things in the off-season and worked a few things out, how to combat Blackburn's outside run, and particularly with their strong-bodied midfielders as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But I'm looking forward to a fiery clash out here. Of course, Blackburn have won the past 3 matches against the Sharks, and it's looking interesting that Doncaster, having spoken to Andrew Tranquilli, will be keen to square the ledger today.
Thank you very much, Dan. That's very insightful. Another man to be back with us, the reigning Clinton Gribus medal, and has done some really good pieces for the In Focus segment throughout the pre-season. And it's a very warm welcome back in season 2018 to you, Brett Beston.
Thank you, Brash. I've got to say I'm very excited to be back here today. I think this summer is the 6th longest months of my life waiting for footy to come round again. So, and my wife would attest to that. So absolutely delighted to be out here, and a great occasion. Good Friday footy, of course, for the second year, and fantastic day and a good crowd starting to build. And I think this is going to be a good game. Two sides who went pretty close last year but didn't quite get there. But they've also the interesting fact, and we'll talk a bit about this in the next hour or so, but plenty of changes from both sides and some really interesting ins, particularly for Doncaster.
Most definitely, and it's lovely weather out here at the moment, 21 degrees, and looks like it'll be all set for a fantastic afternoon. And the man sitting next to me needs really no introduction. He's made the paper in recent times for his excellent spell of bowling of 9 overs, 9 maidens, 5 for 0. It's a very warm welcome, and back to you, Matty Fodia, on the EFL team for season 2018.
Thanks, Brash. It's good to be back, mate. Good to be at the footy, and I'm looking forward to finding out at the end of this season who's going to beat Vermont in the grand final. So.
Jeepers, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Matty Fodia has gone the early call with Vermont. We haven't even bounced the ball in anger as yet.
Sorry, Brash. Someone had to.
That's all right. Well, it's always great to be part of the start of the season, and this man has always been kind with his time, and once again he's on the front foot, and it's a very warm welcome to season 2018, Andrew Tranquilli. Good afternoon, Andrew.
Good afternoon, lads. Bash, how are you, mate?
Oh, very well. How was the pre-season? And obviously a few changes along the way, but business as usual?
Oh, a bit of an interrupted pre-season, I reckon, with just the way it happened calendar-wise, with a lot of the public holidays where they fell, and us sharing the ground with Fitzroy Doncaster in the cricket, who are also in the finals this weekend. So, look, it was a different pre-season to years gone by, but I must admit, change is a good thing sometimes, so we had a bit of fun.
Over the summer, you obviously lost a couple of players. Young Hooper has left the club, but we've taken notice of off your ends this year, and you've picked up quite a few handy players, one of them being Todd Vanderhart, and Jesse Liebelt makes his way from the 4th Division Premiers in Donvale to the Doncaster Football Club this year.
Yeah, I'm wrapped for Jesse. Look, Jesse's a Doncaster kid, and after we won 2015 Divi 2 to get up to Divi 1, he just felt his body wasn't right. The kid, as a 20-year-old kid back then, came off a couple of hip operations and thought he wouldn't be up to it. So a bit of maturity with a couple of years gone by and a good solid pre-season. We're really looking forward to Jesse giving us a little bit of run across the ground. Todd, yeah, good recruit. He gives us a bit of a swing option, both defensive and back. And look, we actually signed Todd last year, but he was able to get it more often than not a game with Casey's development side, and at times was pushing for their senior side. So he had a good think about over the summer where he wanted to go with his footy, and he was happy to really lay hat to Doncaster and focus there.
Andrew, a couple of other interesting recruits. The one that I want to ask you about is Tyson Hartwick, who comes, he's got big reputation, a defender. I think he's come from, I'm not sure where he's actually
Doncaster Stars.
Yeah, that's the ones. Tell us about him. What sort of player is he?
Yeah, he's a, as you say, good key, solid defender who bolsters our spine a bit with Shimmer and Maganas. What we're finding with recruiting these days is that you may not jag him the first time, you'll get him maybe 2-3 years after. So we actually spoke to Tyson 2-3 years ago when he was coming down from Wangaratta, and because he's originally a Wangaratta boy. But with work where he happened to get a position in education system was on the other side of town, so it suited him to play in that competition in the Essendon League. And we just kept in touch over the last couple of years, and we made sure that our bridge wasn't burned. And yeah, he just felt the time was right to what he liked, what we presented 2 years ago, saw where we're at. And now hopefully we can deliver for him and he can deliver for us.
A couple of Strathveldy boys, I think I'm right in saying Jake Hall and Harry Conway have joined.
Strathwood say at Bendigo.
That's the one, yep. And I knew I'd get that wrong.
Yeah, somewhere there.
Yeah, Jake Hall and also Harry Conway. Tell us about them.
Yeah, so Jakey Hall, he'll give us, again, run similar to Jesse through the mids wings. Harry's a 21-year-old who will give us a bit of a marking option, hopefully forward, but again can swing back forward and even through the midfield actually. So again, it's one of them things that you talk to one's got a mate, the mate's keen. So we're really lucky that we're able to, we probably had an easier recruiting summer this year to years gone by, where one led to two and then two led to three. And and they were all quality players and quality people, more importantly.
You spoke about the recruitment process and about how it often happens a couple of years after you initially touch base. When you are doing that, I assume you've got some sort of bloke out there in the bush who knows of these players, and is there sort of a scouting system that Doncaster have, or it's just a few people you network through your footy life?
Yeah, it's called the Bush Telegraph. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how many pubs you have a beer at these in the bush towns and do a bit of a pub crawl on the way back to Melbourne. So, but no, look, you're right. It's your networking. You've got to really entrust the people that maybe that you've built up over the years in the game. You sort of respect people's opinions, what they do. But with technology these days, and a lot of games being on YouTube and Uber, you can also scout vision. While you're putting the kids to bed at night time, say, yes, love, no worry, the kids are all right. There you are, you're watching a game of footy with your 9-year-old son. He goes, oh, I like him, Dad. But no, look, it's really building up a network that, because you don't really have the time to go and actually physically see yourself. Yeah. But it's like what I did with Con last year. We really built up a relationship where, like, we've got Vermont next week. How'd you go last week? What did you this? What did you that? So you sort of start to talk to each other. And look, at the end of the day, we're all here for the same reason. But you keep a few tricks up your sleeve. But the more open we can be with each other, I'm more than encouraging to talk to anyone and to help out. Yeah.
Pre-season's over now, mate. We're looking forward to 2018. Where does the group want to go? Finals last year. Obviously, probably didn't finish away. Close game. There's not much you can do about it. Where does the group want to go today? Is it more of a year where you're happy to sit and maybe plan for 2 more years down the line, or move forward again? Yeah,
look, I still think we're in a development phase. We've got a good top end of maturity led by Shimmer Bushanakis. We really focused on the last 2-3 years of getting our 19-year-olds to 22-year-olds to get 20 to 30 games under their belt. We think we've got a good balance there now. We're healthy with points at the moment, so that's one of the things that really has been a rod down our back over the years. So we're okay there. Look, we'll be at the cusp, but it won't dictate selection or the best side every week, which is a bonus for us this year. And again, that's a strategy that we use going forward with recruiting as well, is that we now know what the system is and how to play it. It's about finding those jewels that no one else thinks they're jewels and see what you can do with it. So it's like the Moneyball system that I call it. So it's look, obviously finals is where we'd want to be, where we want to taste. We don't look at the finals loss as the reason why we didn't go any further. We probably reflect back to round 18 here, which is a learning for us that we really gave them a 9-goal head start at 3/4 time.
And you could have been playing in a qualifying final, couldn't you?
That's exactly right. I mean, and then it's not about the couple of kicks that we missed towards the end, because who knows? They took the foot off the gas. Who knows? We just decided to play a bit different. It's one of them things, but it's about, okay, well, if 9 goals was 7 or if 9 goals was 5, who knows what the story would have been. But yeah, look, finals is where all teams should be aspiring for. Let's just get to the top 5 and then it's a whole season. Starts again.
Andrew, a couple of players from last year that have come, that have come to the club, and I think with the season in Division 1 under their belts, I know they've been playing around that half-forward midfield, but young Chris Tout and Jake Kalange, are we going to see a bit more of them running through the midfield and half-forward this year as added for that rotation mix?
Absolutely, and that's an area that we've bolstered a bit more running power through that midfield, whether it's outside, inside, off the half-back line, or as a 5th, 6th off the forward line. It's all the language that we talk. So, look, we don't narrow it down to 3 or 4. No. We believe that we've got a solid group of 10.
You need that, don't you?
Yeah, 100% you do. Like, we just had our team meeting before, and, you're sort of looking at your rotation systems and not trying to overcomplicate it. We believe that we've now got a system in place that, because we've got a depth, that we don't have to put too much pressure on 1 or 2 people. So it's we've really at a stage now that we think at any given time, player A or player B, whether you're 19 or whether you're 28, can go into the hotspot.
Andrew, you've recognised you recognised the strength of Blackburn's when you've said we've just got to watch their outside run and their speed with their spread. Not only Blackburn, but would I be fair in saying that was something that might have been a little bit lacking in your side coming towards the end of the year, and that was something, or that was the focus during during the off season with regards to recruiting?
Us doing that, or us defending that?
No, you doing that.
I wouldn't say we lacked in it. No. We probably just weren't as efficient at it. Yeah, right. So, like, when we were on, everyone thought, wow, you guys are really quick. And it's amazing how it could just be that we're on, but the opposition side is off by 1%, and it gives you that little bit of a extra 10 metres in your leg speed. So, no, I wouldn't say that we lack in that efficiency. I think it's an area that we've definitely focused on over the summer, and we worked on.
Yep.
Different strategies, different phases, different times of the game. But it's more, again, I've always said our approach is always a defensive first approach.
Yep.
And it's our snap transition to make sure that we close that down quicker than let them get into a dangerous spot.
Josh Limachese, one of your, your veteran players, I don't think you'll mind me calling him that.
No.
His 200th game today, I believe.
Yeah, it's awesome. We 10 years, I think, now he's at the club. So he came to us 10 years ago, let's say, from Montmorency as an under-19s. So first, basically, he's been in the senior system as a 19-year-old. And he's just not only a great person, but he's a great clubman as well. You've
picked up some good plays from Montmorency.
Yeah, Jakey Kalange has got some connection there as well. Yeah. And so it's not that we have a relationship or a connection there. It's just
the way it happens,
by luck. It just happened that way. But no, look, I'm really looking forward. And Josh has had a terrific. It's one of those things around one eye who's had a big summer, this and that. But I can tell you that Josh has had a really focused and a driven summer, and yeah, he'll be playing with a bang today, that's for sure.
Well, Andrew, once again, congratulations, and welcome to season 2018, and good luck to the Doncaster Football Club in season 2018. I'm sure that you'll be hoping to go one step further, and hopefully you can kick it off with a big victory today against Blackburn. Once again, thank you for your time this afternoon, and we look forward to talking to you throughout the season.
I've got one question back your way.
Yeah.
Now, you've recruited Matty this year. You said he took 9 for? Is that right? Why isn't he on the plane to South Africa?
I don't know.
Yeah. It's a completely different question. We're not going there.
You don't like answering questions, do you, Bash? You like asking them.
Oh, jeez, I'll leave you with that one.
Nice, I'm absolutely gobsmacked there. He's just got me right there. And Andrew, once again, thank you very much. Good luck for the rest of the year. And yeah, it's an interesting year, and look.
That's the first time I think I've seen you speechless, Brash.
And it's only the first day of the year.
That's right. We can only move up, Brash.
Well, that's it. Look. Before Brendan Allen comes on, a lot has happened during the off season, Dan, and over the coming opening weeks of the season, we'll get into more depth. But as we know it, this season 2018 is going to be the last in the 4 divisions, and obviously there's going to be some big changes in 2019. But we may get into that as the start of the season progresses. An important game here for Blackburn this afternoon. In fact, it's an important fixture for the EFL, and being part of the EFL, this is it's good for the promotion of the competition, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly is. And Good Friday footy over the years has just grown bigger and bigger. Eastern Football League, of course, only started it last year. There had been a push in previous years to get a game up, but certain things, I suppose, stopped that from happening. But it's fantastic. It's great to see everyone out here, especially the Red Jackets, Matt, all assembled around the ground. They
I don't know whether it's weather for Red Jackets, Dan. It's very early in the year.
But look, it's a great, as long as we remember what the day's actually about as well. Same goes for Anzac Day. We play footy in the spirit of on Anzac Day and around Anzac Day, but as long as we remember what the games are actually commemorating, then I don't see the harm in playing on those days.
Well, Dan, as you leave just momentarily, we're going to welcome the new Blackburn coach to the EFL this afternoon, and it's a very warm welcome to Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen.
Good start.
Fred Allen was welcome, mate. Welcome.
Am I going real good?
It is the first week.
Good afternoon, Brendan, and welcome to the EFL and welcome to season 2018. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you, and thanks for having me on.
It's been you've taken over from Con Caravias, and it seemed like it was a very smooth transition. What was it like, talking to Con and getting an idea of what you're up against when you first started here?
Con's been fantastic for us, and obviously he's still involved in our football program as the general manager of footy. So the transition's been, ridiculously smooth. It's been great. So obviously early days, I pulled the pin at Sandringham at the end of last season, and I was actually going to have a year off. And a mate of mine, who was our strength and conditioning coach here at Blackburn, is also the rehab coach at St Kilda, sort of said the job had come up. So I had a look at it, and I actually rang Con before I applied, and I sort of said, what am I getting myself into if I take this job on? And he talked me through it, and it just sounded exciting. So it sort of rejuvenated me for coaching. And next thing I applied, and then we're in front of an interview panel, and a week later we got the job, and off we go. So it's been pretty smooth.
Brandon, one of the things that you, in an article that done in early February, when you came to the club, you said you were quite surprised at what was at your disposal with regards to, the Blackburn personnel. As you said, there's a lot of VFL and TAC List Cup players, and as well as juniors. You must be really excited about coaching this bunch of players. Oh,
extremely, yeah. And, it's a changing landscape out there with the development lead in the VFL being... disposed of, if you like, because, it just gives the EFL more potency in it's the next level of football. So the boys here, like as I said, there's a lot that have played VFL and TAC Cup footy, and obviously wanting still to play at a higher standard and play with their mates. But I'd actually, especially our senior team, from what I've seen, and obviously been in the VFL for the last 6 years, we'd give the bottom rung of the VFL a fair shake.
Yeah, I could imagine that, and I think when you look at Blackburn's lineup, I mean, there's some new players, and one in particular is Nick Gray coming from Collingwood. You must be excited about having him at the club this year. Oh,
we're extremely lucky, and early days we didn't realise, but Nick's dad actually coached the club back in the 1970s, so we had a connection there. So we kept that quiet, the bugger, in the in the actual initial talks with him. So we didn't know we had that connection there. We could have tried to get him a little bit earlier, but no, he's fantastic. He's a genuine leader around the club already. He's helping me out with the midfield as an assistant coach, and you watch him today. Everything he does is just oozes with class.
A couple of guys that you don't have at your disposal. Max Otten, who's apparently, I believe, about a month away. He's had a knee reconstruction, and the other one is Luke Conker, who's still getting back to full fitness. So when do we expect those guys back?
Luke's just come off there actually on the ground. So he's playing a full game today. He played a half last week. So we've got 2 weeks. He'll probably play another game in development, depending on what happens with us today, injury-wise. But, it's just, it's early days in the season. We don't want to rush these blokes back in if we don't have to. It's a long year. Max is probably going to be about round 6 now. He actually was starting to join in most of training, the non-contact stuff, and he actually dislocated his finger, compound dislocation on Wednesday night. So he can't take a trick, the poor bugger. But the time his hand gets back to full fitness is the same time as his knee gets back to full fitness. So he's going to be correct. So he's going to be sort of slowly approaching. We'll probably see Max mid-year, I'd say. Yeah,
and you've got a new captain this year as well. Paddy Cotton takes over the reins from Fagan.
Yes. He's a very good bloke, Paddy, and it's funny that they actually are housemates, so there's still a little bit of Fagan's influence in there. But no, Pat's a great fella and a great leader around the club. He just, demands of the players, and that's what we want, and he sets a really great example on and off the field.
What's the process you go through to get that captain? Is it you sort of go to the club, this is who we think it should be, or is it more of a you open it up to the players to choose?
No, it's gone the day where the coaches choose the captain. It's just ridiculous because at the end of the day, the players have to respect the person in charge. We actually went through a process of camp of working through, what we stand for as a club and our values, and then from that we come up with 4 or 5 key words, and we actually vote on the person that embodies those values, and then it's come out that Pat was a clear winner after that.
You got strong under 19s and reserves for plenty of years. All 3 sides made the prelim last year. Have we seen any debutants stepping up straight from the 19s last year into the ones today?
Yes,
or are they...
so you've got 4 under 19s from last year debuting today for us. So young Jordan Hart, who was captain of the 19s last year, Tom Maher. And then you've also got Marcus Young, who's played a bit of TAC Cup, but also played in the finals for us at Blackburn last year, and Mackenzie Dorian, who was at Rangers last year, just missed out on getting drafted. So.
And then the other one I'll mention is Julian Socchio, or if that's...
Socchio.
Socchio, there you go. Yeah. I should know that. He had a really good start to the year last year and then buggered off overseas. He's good to have back for a full season this year, hopefully.
He's decided to go over and enjoy life at the Greek islands and over in Italy.
Who can blame him?
Yeah, exactly right. So, but no, he's back, and he's slowly working his way into the games. Obviously, having that bit of a layoff takes a bit of time, but he's been building. He's been very solid for us in the practice matches, but I'm just waiting for him to take a game by the scruff of the neck, and, what better day than today.
Are you ready to take the next step, you reckon?
Hopefully, that's the aim. I mean, the benchmark for us this year is going to be finals, and there's no hiding from that. But once you get to that end of the year, you've got to have a bit of luck with injuries, etc. But we think our game plan stands up.
Yeah.
So hopefully, when the whips are cracking, we're there.
Good luck, mate.
Thank you.
Have you set yourself, have you actually sat there and said, we want to play finals, we want to finish here? Have you set like a goal as such, or are you just going to sort of take it as it comes?
Just take it as it comes, because if you start planning for the end goal, you'll get by the wayside through the year. So you've got to tick boxes, and there's a process to get there. And if you're ticking the boxes and making sure that you're getting everything correct along the way, the results and the end of the year looks after itself.
Just wanted to ask you about a couple of other guys too that you've picked up VFL recruits. You've got Nick Gray and Paddy Lawler, is it?
Yes, correct.
Tell us about them.
So Pat Lawler actually played for Box Hill originally. He played in their 2 grand final sides, I'm pretty sure. Went over to Coburg last 2 seasons and was probably their best midfielder under Peter German, and he just sort of had enough of that. When they get to about 24, 25 and they haven't realised the dream, things change. Yep. So we're pretty lucky to have Pat, because he's actually an ex-Vermont junior. So
he is, and he's very good off. He plays a sweeper role beautifully off the half-back, because he's just got natural dash, and he can run, and he just knows how to run through the lines, Brendan. Yeah,
he's very good with his ball. He's very penetrating, and he's a very good runner. So you probably won't see him across half-back for us today. You'll probably see him through the midfield.
Yep.
But yeah, we are aware of his ability to do that. But he's also probably come to note at Box Hill through his forward pressure. He was up there as one of their leading goal kickers about 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, Brendan, it's a busy day for the Blackburn Football Club, and obviously for you, it's your first day of coaching in the EFL. And look, good luck to yourself and Blackburn in season 2018, and hopefully you can go a few steps further in the premiership race this year.
hopefully that's the plan. But we'll, as I said, we'll just tick the boxes along the way.
Just quickly, Rash, I'm really a big fan of the get-up that he's rocking as well. You know, none of these slacks and bloody wear the big dog. He's rocking the running shorts and the team polo, and I'm a big fan of it. Right?
Well, you can talk.
I know. I'm just saying I'm a big fan of it. He's coaching footy. He doesn't need to be walking down the run row. I'm a big fan of it. And I'm starting to like Blackburn more and more.
Well,
okay.
We've got a half an hour warm-up, so I'm not going to run around in my slacks then, but I'll get changed into my slacks afterwards.
Keep them on. I'm happy for it, mate. Get the legs out.
Yeah.
Well, Brendan, welcome to the EFL, and hopefully you enjoy the coaching experience in 2018. I know you've coached at a high level, but I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun being part of the EFL in 2018.
No, thank you very much. Cheers, boys.
There we have it, Brendan Allen there, the new coach of Blackburn, and be pretty happy at the moment with what he's seeing on the in the reserves.
No, the development, Rash, that's what they call it, the development.
Yes, the development squad. It's
them in Rowville, they love their development squad.
Currently, it's 22 minutes into the third quarter, and Blackburn have got a sizable 65-point lead. It's Blackburn 12-84 to Doncaster 2 goals 7-19. So, Matty, the strength of Blackburn.
Yeah, they've always had strength in depth, haven't they, Brush? Their reserves are they're very, very, very good side, and the 19s were very, very good last year. So they're strong right through the club. Yeah, and you know, look, it's Dan Senchik joins us back again, and you know, it's such promise. The start of a new season for all the clubs, right? You know, 44 clubs all starting out on a new journey, but you can't help but feel that, you know, this season holds a lot of significance, Dan, for a lot of clubs. There's, because of what's going to happen in the future, there's going to be a lot more prevalence in how sides perform. And I actually reckon this year we're going to see some very fierce competition right across the 4 divisions.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of Division 1 as well, I can't remember who it was I was talking to. It might have been you, Brett, a few days ago, that there's potentially 7 or 8 sides that can play finals in Division 1 this year. If you look at who some of these Division 1 clubs have picked up, North Ringwood's one that could bolt this year. They've picked up both Petrarca boys from Mitcham. Norwood, of course, with Patrick Bowden coming across. I think
they'll be the big improvers for this year. I mean, they couldn't get much worse after last year, but I think they're going to go great guns. Norwood.
Well,
they could get worse.
He's inherited possibly the best, most promising list in the Eastern Football League, Patrick Bowden. I reckon when that coaching job came up, I thought whoever got that job has, they've done extremely well, and he's coming from a well-drilled club in Division 3, Ringwood. He knows what finals football are all about as well.
Yeah, and you know, when you look at what's going to transpire at the end of the year, you can't help but feel like we're talking about clubs, right? Who's going to stay up and who's going to stay down, and you know, it's a bit like the horse before the cart. You know, when we look at clubs' lists, you know, you see that some of the older players have moved on. They've gone into different divisions, and we can actually be quite not neglectful, but we can sort of underestimate the youth of today when they come into a new lineup. I mean, look, you know, Knox have had a big clean out of players, but obviously they've got youth in the side, and you just, you know, in this day and age, youth can take you a long way, Dan.
I think the epitome of that last year was Frank Anderson with South Croydon, winning the Division 1 Leader Young Gun award, and watching the grand final back, he was absolutely sensational, composed under pressure, and kicked the sealer for the Dogs late in the game, which was pleasing to see. So you mentioned that youth can come into the Division 1 competition, slot in seamlessly, and they don't look out of place. Frank was one of those. And,
you know, look, Dan, just touching back to season 2017, in all 4 divisions, we were pretty blessed last year, and the EFL, being part of the EFL, after they've sat down at the end of the season and had a talk about how everything went, they would have been pretty happy about the whole final series.
Oh, certainly. It was a flawless final series, wasn't it? Usually we see 2 good grand finals or 2 mediocre ones, 3 good ones, 1 bad one, whatever. But last year we were blessed with 4 great grand finals and great stories across all of them as well. Of course, the fairy tale of South Croydon in Divi 1, Knox in Division 2 as well were fantastic. Division 3, Brett, your side, Park Orchard. Richards were great,
The mighty Sharks,
taking out the 3 flags on the day. And, of course, Donvale coming back from a recess a couple of years ago to pinch a flag and becoming the first club to win one in all 4 of the divisions.
That's the fascination for me, is how these new clubs, because Donvale looked invincible in Division 4. Park Orchards look fantastic in Division 3, but how are they going to go? I think Park Orchards will be more than competitive in Division 2.
I wouldn't be surprised if Park Orchards won it.
In Division 2?
Wouldn't be surprised.
There he goes again.
It just wouldn't show. You look at Division 2.
We've got Vermont for Division 1. We've got Park
I said who will beat Vermont. Division 2, you look at it. You got Doncaster East, who have been good for so long. They're bound to have a drop-off, you'd think, and they've no junior club as well. I know Beverly Hills is there, but there's no direct feeder. They're 19s that... I'm not sure if they have 19s, but they're not as strong. Park Orchards have got strength the whole way through. They've picked up well, as we've seen, through some of the brilliant work we've been doing in the in-focus. Then Lilydale haven't really picked up. Mooroolbark will go well. I just wouldn't be surprised.
Bayswater will be, obviously, having gone down.
Yeah. It'll be Division 2 will be close yet again. I don't think there'll be a runaway, and it wouldn't surprise me if Park Orchards did really well. I think Donvale will do really well as well in Division 3.
The thing with Donvale is they're losing about 70 goals this year with Purcell out for the season.
Right.
Did his ACL in the grand final, apparently. And I didn't notice that because he played out the game.
No,
he's not known for his running capacity, though.
No, that's right. But losing about 70 goals. But they have picked up well. Defender Jackson Freeman from Montana South.
And I know he's playing a bit of a swing while they see him as more of a utility. Because he's sort of a smallish tall. He's not... He's bigger than... He's smaller, than you think. He looks very big, so he can play.
They will miss big Zach Haig in the ruck. I mean, Patrick Dillon's a good young player and he's developing nicely, but Zach Haig is certainly a loss. And as we're going to see today, you've got Jess Leibert running around for Doncaster as well, and they'll miss him off halfback. So a couple of losses there, but, as you say, they've recruited well.
He's not the first bloke to go Division 4 up to Division 1. Jason Want did it last year and
went overseas.
And went overseas. He was one of the best players for South Croydon before he went overseas. Could that be the omen for Blackburn as well? And we were talking about the fickleness of Division 1 last year, Brash, that Doncaster gave away a 9-goal lead early in that round 18 clash here. If they'd won that game, they'd finish second and play against Baldwin or play against South Croydon in the qualifying final out of Bayswater, and who knows? So South Croydon was so close to playing in an elimination final.
It's like, as they say, mate, the fine line between pleasure and pain.
What was it, 4 sides all on the same points, more or less?
Yeah.
From 2nd to 5th. It could have been anyone's flag last year. Just shows how close it all is.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our first break here, and on EFL Game Day, it's the big match day between Blackburn and Doncaster, and after the break we'll come back and talk a little bit more about what's happening in the EFL in 2018, and obviously talk a little bit more about today's game. So keep your dial here, Radio Eastern 98.1.
For the best EFL rap on radio, don't miss EFL Sunday. From 10 till 12 every Sunday morning, the EFL media team bring you all the final scores, goal kickers, best players and ladders, following a big round of EFL footy. The gang talk to the biggest names from across the land.
He was a great Yorkshireman.
An Italian pasta dish reminds me of my grandmother.
Be remembered for the greatest moments in your life. Find out more at tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Program sponsor.
Bigger and better in season 2016, Netball EFL is back. The fastest growing competition in the eastern suburbs continues to expand. Don't miss the fast-paced action every Friday night across multiple venues. For more information or to get involved, head to efl.org.au. A new time and a new team, driving you home in 2016. Join a brand new lineup for The Huddle as the gang take a light-hearted look at the Eastern Football League every Friday night. More importantly, the team will reveal the ins and outs for this week's round of matches. The Huddle, 4:30 to 6:30 every Friday evening as you love it local.
Something nice that I have done for someone, I have bought a meal for a homeless person.
I always offer to pick people up from the airport.
I went out with a friend last night. Just being there and listening to what she was going through, I think made all the difference.
I'll write like a little note and put it in the mail. Might just be like, hi, I'm thinking of you.
I took my girlfriend to dinner last week. That's pretty notable for me.
At Tobin Brothers Funerals, they know that every life is unique and they think that every celebration should be too. Find out more at tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Program sponsor.
The warm-up continues right here on EFL Saturday.
Welcome back to EFL Game Day, the first EFL Game Day in season 2018, and we're out at Moreton Park this afternoon for the big clash between Blackburn and Doncaster. Both these sides played off in the final series last year, and as we've spoken to both coaches, they're both hoping that their sides can go one step further in this season. And just before the break, we were having a talk about, the season break that's going to be the last of the traditional 4-division setup that we have with the EFL. After they announced that in 2019 we'll be going to 5 divisions with a Premier 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fact that there's going to be a lot of sides that'll be wanting to chalk up wins early in the season.
Exactly. I mean, with more sides going down, obviously this year you don't want to get behind the 8 ball early, but everyone knows what the story is. It's not like it's sort of crept up on us. We've known for some months, so I'm sure everyone will go out there and everyone's on an even playing field. And but it's the same with any season. I mean, you want to get wins on the board early, definitely.
I think one of the things, though, during that off season, Matt, obviously the clubs in Division 2, because that was probably going to be the division that was going to really have the most talking point, with the fact that either way, it was going to be one of those decisions, what are they going to do with how many sides were going to come up and how many sides were going to come down. And look, there were obviously some coaches or some presidents of some of the Division 2 sides are actually happy that they get a year of penance, so to speak.
I agree with the decision Phil Merton put in his piece about why they decided to not have the Premier go up. It made a lot of sense once you read it. Initially you go, oh, geez, that's a bit stiff. But then you read it and it makes sense. If they're dropping 3 teams down, you can't feasibly say that the team who won Division 2 are then going to be better than the next 3 higher teams. And they would then, it would hurt them in the long run, wouldn't it? Because then they wouldn't get that year in Division 1. They'd have to go up Premier, probably get their bottoms handed to them a lot, Brett, and then it might hurt them in the long run. I think it's the right decision to be made.
Well, I think too with regards to the and this is really where the points and the salary cap will really help these Division 2 clubs this year, Dan, because even though they're not going to go up, it also gives them a selling platform to recruit new players for season 2019 to say, hey, come here. We reckon we're on the cusp of going up the Premier Division. It's a bit of an easier sell. Would you agree?
Yeah, I do agree. And look, the league made the decision based on the best interests of the clubs as well. They're not out to disadvantage anyone in any way, contrary to what some might believe. But essentially the restructure is so clubs can have a bit more success. It's a more even playing field.
It makes sense.
It does make sense, and kudos to the league for doing it, because it was a big call to make, but the clubs actually voted on it as well.
Well, that's right.
And that's that.
Well, reading about the stuff during the off season, of course, a lot of our own focuses and talking to the club coaches, there's not too many that are unhappy. I know, I'm not having to singling him out, but I know Steve Buckle is one who was far from impressed. But most of the other guys seem pretty okay about it.
But the thing is, I don't think that's a negative that that there is that someone doesn't disagree. I mean, look, at the end of the day, even though the coaches have, even though the clubs have voted on it, I don't think it hurts that someone offers a different opinion on it, and we have to respect that. But at the end, also at the end of the day, the league have to take the bigger picture. It's the bigger picture in mind, and when you look at the way that the rest of the divisions are going to be restructured, I mean, in essence, like when we're looking at the bottom levels, really not that much is going to change. It's only going to be 1 or 2 sides, Dan.
Div 3 is another one, though. I think Div 3, I know, speaking to a few players, that some of the clubs have sort of focused on, let's just finish top 6. Because I think that's another one that'll be affected largely with 6. Basically, you cut it in half, Division 3. 6 stay in Division 3, 6 go to Division 4.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a lot of clubs might change their focus. There might be a lot of clubs that go, you know what, we're not going to make finals, but let's try and finish in the top 8 or whatever. And for certain clubs, let's say like a Warrandyte, who probably aren't thinking our list isn't good enough to play finals. You never know. If we have a good year, let's try and stay Division 3.
But the thing is, I mean, we're going to have this sort of, not everyone's going to be happy, some are going to be happy, and there's going to be that bedding in period, isn't there? I mean, it's brand new, it's going to be different for a lot of clubs, but probably, we'll come back here in 2 or 3 years' time when it's all settled down and everything's running smoothly, and everyone will probably say it's a great idea.
Especially at a competition of this size too. I think 5 divisions is just for a competition of this size. It's the largest local football competition in Australia. So to fit them into 4 divisions, I think's had its day. And to move to 5 divisions is very exciting.
And I also think, Dan, not only in football but in netball, we're probably going to be starting to become nearly the biggest netball competition.
Yeah, absolutely.
You might have to host a netball podcast, Brash.
No, yeah, I probably could.
And of course, women's footy's growing as well. So it's all expanding. The junior boys as well. Everything's expanding out, and football is alive and well in the eastern suburbs, no doubt about that. And the amount of, I think there's about 10 Eastern Rangers boys that got drafted last November.
Yeah,
so
that was a coup.
That's fantastic for local footy in the east.
Stephenson was very good. I was at the game last week. He was pretty good for Collingwood, one of their bright lights.
I don't know how North Loudon let him go, actually. I'm absolutely gobsmacked, but that's a story for a different day. Some other news that happened during the off-season, Dan, was the appointment of Steve Cochran as the new interleague coach for season 2018. Steve was the assistant coach under the tutelage of Brett Moyle last year, and he's taken over this year. I think the AFL have got a really good one there.
Oh, certainly, and you'd know Steve quite well, Brash, from his time at Vermont. Of course, he coached here at Blackburn as well.
Yep.
And one of the things that he was keen to get up and about, being at the helm of the interleague program, was that sort of garnering a bit of a cult following about it. So players jump at the opportunity every year to play. And I think the fact that the game will be played at Etihad this season,
I think we'll probably get near our best squad, I
exactly
reckon.
Right, yep. And that's what we want, because we want a good showcase of what the Eastern Football League is, the biggest premier local football competition in Australia. And the opponents they're coming up against in the Geelong Football League are going to be they're quite formidable. They played them a couple of years ago, unfortunately didn't get the results. They were after the Eastern Footy League, but look, it's fantastic that the interleague program's growing as well, and quite a few boys from last year, I understand, have put their hand up to play again this year, which is great.
Well, obviously, as we will be, our media team will be there front and square as part of this thing, and obviously I'm going to be taking quite a bit of notice in the Geelong Football League in the time leading up to it, looking at some of their players and and I'm sure Steve Cochran will be doing the same thing. And I just think it's I'm starting to really warm to the interleague. I was part of a team a few years ago with Louis from the Western region, and we had an absolute blast, and I don't expect it to be any different this year. I also think too, personally, Brett and Matt, I don't ever reckon, since interleague football has started, I don't reckon the AFL have ever put their best Division 1 side on the park.
It's quite hard.
I know it's hard.
It's hard because, like you said, it's injury. Clubs sort of go, well, do you really want to? It's the old. It happens in international football. Often teams that aren't in the World Cup per se might have friendlies, and the manager goes, I don't want you to go play. You'll get injured, so it can happen here. But now that it's been embedded around for a few years, people understand and respect it, and they'll be more inclined to play. And like you said, playing at Etihad's a fair carrot.
It's a good point though, Matt, because I mean it is a one-off game after all, and I mean if you're looking at your overall season and trying to win a premiership,
there'd be a number of coaches who say we don't want you playing.
No.
But now that it's at Etihad, it's been around for 5-6 years. People might go, well, this is actually something to be proud of. So.
Exactly. Well, it's Good Friday again. It's a Blackburn Football Club. Blackburn Football Club synonymous with Good Friday football. Man at the helm, always good with his time, always comes on at this time of the year to promote the virtues of the Blackburn Football Club. It's a very warm welcome this afternoon to the president of the Blackburn Football Club, Matty Breen. Hello, Matt.
Thank you, and welcome back to Moreton Park. Gee, that year's gone pretty quick, hasn't it? It wasn't that long ago. We all had here last year and going through the whole thing again, so we're very fortunate.
Matt, we had a bit of a chat off screen, and the process of swapping coaches can sometimes be a little bit acrimonious, but in your case, the transition between Con and Brendan has been seamless, I believe.
Look, we were very lucky. Traumatic was the word I was going to use when I was first told that that Con won't go again. But to his credit, he's a fantastic guy, Con, and I think it's rare. I've never known of a club that's going to have a senior coach who's going to step down, stays on as a football manager, looks after the list management and so forth up till Christmas, and they gave opportunity for Brendan to come in and really focus on the player list and the guys he's got. And we're very fortunate, and Con's out there today supporting away, and so hopefully we'll keep him around as long as he wants to be part of the Blackie Footy Club, and we're very fortunate for those 2 years. Very good coach, and I hope he continues down that path.
On the field last year, even though Blackburn didn't win a flag, it still was a successful season in the fact that all your three senior sides made finals. At the end of the season, when the executive sat down and had a really hard think about what did you come up with? What do you think you need to do this year to go that final step?
Yeah, well, last year was a year about building the Blackburn brand. It's sort of taken a little bit of a hit over the previous few years. We only won 7 games in 2016. So it was a real concerted effort by the executive to really go out there and give the brand a bit of a wash over and really get it back up where it should be, and have all 3 sides playing the preliminary final without a 19s go to the grand final. It was exactly what we wanted. And our junior club, which is very strong with 23 sides, we pride the fact that safety is number one, but Blackburn brand's really important. And then it went through to 2018, and we just felt that it's probably just a more on-ball brigade. We just felt we needed a little bit more class on the footy.
Yep.
And I think there was a number of games we got over the line, but we just sort of got beaten up on the ball a little bit, and even with a dominant ruckman. So that really sort of felt, well, let's look at that. And we were very fortunate that Nick Gray, who was the VFL Collingwood captain last year, and also Pat Lawler, who's come from up north to come play with us, and they've really built up that on-ball brigade. So,
Matty, with the demise of the development squad in the VFL, in your mind, can you not only see that this is going to really benefit the Division 1, especially with the players that are coming back to those clubs this year, and it's going to make it even more competitive than ever?
Well, I think it will. I think it will definitely, each club will bat a bit deeper, and I think not just for EFL but for all Premier League clubs, the importance of getting those guys back and playing, and really, I just really think the structure's right now, where you've got AFL, you've got the state leagues, and then you've got these Premier Leagues all across country and metropolitan areas that really become a bit more structured and the feed. I wasn't a fan of the development thing. I think a lot of the top players that went in there then come back to EFL found it a bit difficult because of the quality of what EFL footy is able to provide, and even these guys are quality VFL players and have been involved in AFL. When you come back, it's not an easy kick in the park.
Well, they've got to fit into a culture that they know nothing about, and they're playing with guys that they're not running around training with or playing with on us. And they're sort of like football's journeymen, so to speak, aren't they?
That's right. Yes, but it's all about I'm a big fan of the footballer who's got the mind. I want to belong to something, and when they finish their footy, I belong to Blackburn, or I belong to Vermont, or I belong to not just this movement in and out of all these clubs.
Yeah, just on that, talking about the sort of the closeness of the club. We tour around, we go to all the various clubs, but you guys to me seem one of the tightest knit clubs in the competition. You come out here, you've got all the red jackets, we just about need sunglasses and stuff, but a lot of other clubs will say we're the same, but you just seem to have this really tight-knit club right throughout.
Yeah, well, the culture of the club, I've been here since 95, and I think it really started back when Peter Jago was president, and he was the one who drove that culture, and then winning the flag in 2002, and then some really fantastic presidents took over from there, and their committees, Paul Molan, Mick Tuminello, Gary Connolly, James McLeod, all just really drove the importance of culture and the importance of brand. So just with all the jackets and all that sort of stuff, well, we promote that all the time, particularly when our juniors, if they come up and watch, bring your jacket, bring your jumper, and really builds a strong brand. And, it's great when you go to a Bayswater for finals and you're taking up the whole wing and it's just, full of red, and it's a great thing. And,
next thing you know, we want you to wave those jackets, mate.
Yeah, I might do that. I'd like to do that, I tell you. But, it's all part of, we're very fortunate here that we've had some great off-field workers and great families that have really built Blackburn over the last 25 years. The Molins, the Tumadellos, Kevin Prendergast and his family, even the Breens. So give the whole family a mention. They've been around forever.
I'm going to do that, mate.
So it's all good, and we're also looking forward to but it's important that we keep pushing to the future and making sure the next generation of people to come and run the club come through.
You speak about the Blackburn brand, mate. You guys sit down, the executives, and decide. One, I assume you want to decide what Blackburn's about, and then two, how much goes into making sure that message is put out to all facets of the club, not just the players, but also how do you go about getting out to the faithful and also to the juniors? I assume there's a liaison who would make sure the juniors are on the same path.
Yeah, well, that's a good question, and we're fortunate. The way we structured the club back in the late 90s when I was on the committee, Peter Jago was the president at the time, and we started the juniors up. And should we have two separate constitutions? And we went with the one constitution and a subgroup. So the juniors are always part of the club.
Yeah.
Their president is they get a memorandum of the minutes every year, which says this is the president, this is his committee, it's a subcommittee, and off they go. It's run by the parents, and that sort of makes it automatically linking in to the Blackburn Senior Club. I think also the fact you've got two grounds.
Yeah.
Sort of keeps the colours going.
Everyone together.
Everyone together, and I think a lot of other presidents I speak to talk about the advantage of having two grounds.
And it's the senior ground as well. I know I played at Ludo as a youngster, and until you're 15, you play at the Gateway Reserve, which is a great junior venue, but it's 5 k's down the road. It does hurt a little bit.
That's right. So that's pretty much where it comes structurally, where the brand comes from. But also, look, we're pretty strong in our social media. Our website's been upgraded last year, and it really pushes what we try and do. And it supports. And there's not too many newsletters that go out or would talk about, come down with your red jackets and get down and your jumpers and really try and just build that feel of belonging to something.
And it's bright red, Brash, which is such a vibrant colour. You don't want to be a purple, would be all right. You don't want to be a yellow or something that blends in.
We're finding the colour reds tends to be sort of drifting into different types. It's a bit peachy at times, and then it goes back.
You need people to upgrade their merchandise, mate.
We've got to sort of try and...
That's because they mix the colours with lights. I've done that before.
Kevin Prendergast, our guy in charge of property, he pulls his hair every time then the players go and get their warm-up tops, and that's not quite the right red. But anyway, it all looks the same when you're at a distance. So yeah, we're pretty lucky in that regard and stuff.
Matty, a couple of prominent people of the Blackburn Football Club have passed away during the months, and this might be a really good time to just the last couple of minutes to reflect on their contribution. One of them, Tim Jacobs.
Well, Tim was a fantastic worker in the junior club. He was on the executive committee and took on the role as welfare. Unfortunately, really sadly, Tim was a barrister, and he was only... I think he was 46, 47 when he passed away. And
that's a shame.
He was peaking in his professional career, and then 3 years ago got diagnosed with cancer and was really much in rehab. And in that time, his passion was looking after the Blackburn Footy Club, particularly with the women and the young girls. And he was coaching, I think, the under-12s, under-14s, and he was a fantastic real driver of the women's football in the junior club. And he also sat in the executive as someone who just looked after. In junior level, obviously you have those issues that come through, the emotion that's involved, and Tim and Pat Mannix and Peter Parker now, who's the new president, really handled that. So, it was a big shock that he was in remission a couple of times, but when it did really grab him, it went quite quickly. And then go to his funeral just up here off Blackburn Road, and have over 600-700 people there. Just sort of made you realise how important he was to the club. And the other one was Father Ernie Smith, Order of Australia. He passed away during the week, and he was the club chaplain for many years until his health, unfortunately, his health got worse. And he passed away, and he's well famous with the mission down at St Kilda. St Kilda, who started all that up. He also started up the Wellington up in Collingwood, that looks after all the people who live in all the flats up there. So he was a fantastic fella, and he loved the Burners and come down very close to James McLeod, who was the previous president, and so it was a bit sad. So what happened there, but he lived a long life. He was in his 80s when he passed away. So
Well, Matty, once again, a new season starts, another season of promise for the Blackburn Football Club. On behalf of the media team, good luck to you and the executive and the whole Blackburn Football Club for season 2018.
Yeah.
And hopefully you can kick it off with a win this afternoon.
No, thanks very much, and thanks to the AFL media team giving up their Good Friday and their Easter holidays probably, and coming down here and supporting the club and Doncaster, and good luck with the call. All the best.
Thank you very much. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Matty Breen, the president, and a ripper Blake as well. I've known Matty for such a long time, and his contribution to this football club can't be denied. And good luck to him and his committee in season 2018. We're 22 minutes into the last quarter here, and Blackburn are 72 points in front of Doncaster. The score reading Blackburn 15 goals, 18, 108, and leading Doncaster 3 goals, 8, 26, and woe betide. We just a special guest has quickly come to join us just in the last few minutes as the final siren has gone, and that score 15-18, 108 to Blackburn, Doncaster 3-8, 26, and it's welcome to the Scoresby football manager, Brett Davidson. How are you, Brett?
I'm very good, lads, and excited to be here. Football started again, and just thought I'd drop in and say hello to everybody.
So Brett, tell us about Scoresby, David.
Yeah,
how are they travelling in the off-season? What can we expect from them this year?
Look, I would expect that they're certainly going to be very, very competitive. Look, we've done very well. We've picked up a number of players from their ex-Scoresby players that have all come back to the club. So that's been a real bonus as far as You've
been putting the band back together, haven't you?
Yeah, and it's a bit like the redevelopment of a really good culture. So, they've fitted in well. They've been fantastic on the track. How we'll go, look, we've picked up a lot of midfielders. We've probably got a pretty strong midfield group.
That doesn't hurt.
We're really strong down back now, picking up obviously Owen Chadwick from East Ringwood and having
Marcius
back, Legg back, Jones back, Ryle back. Some talent there. So it's been great, and we've still got some good young kids coming through. So we'll be very competitive. But there's a number of other clubs that have also done some great recruiting as well.
And it's a really important season in Division 3 too, Brett, because top 6 stay up and the bottom 6 go down. So it's going to be pressure from game one, isn't it?
It is, and I think when you look at it, apart from even First Division, I think every division is got to look at it in a little bit different light to what we've looked at it in the past. Because in the past it's always been, make finals and hopefully win the flag. Well, in some situations, it doesn't matter if you win the flag.
No.
And other situations, it's not top 4, it's top 6. So it's got a different feel to it this year. But I think we'll do like most teams. We'll approach it as a normal season and just make sure that we're in the right position at the right time at the end of the year, and then let the cards fall when that happens.
Scotty Goldsworthy still at the helm, mate.
Yep.
Who's he taken on as assistants this year, and who's helping him out?
He's got a guy called Tony Vannon, who again is a Scoresby person. He's been involved in a number of country clubs over the last couple of years, so he's come on as a senior assistant. Then we've picked up a reserves group, which are all senior coaches.
Yep.
They've come from Hallam, Scott Slater, and they've been able to introduce some fantastic structures in our reserve. So our senior coaching group is actually pretty experienced. So we're pretty happy with that, and we should be okay.
What about you? Sorry, Matty. There you go.
You said the schools guys came in, they had to get used to the culture. What have they said about it, having gone to other clubs and come back? Have they noticed much about the club change?
They're really happy with what's happened off-field particularly. We've made no promises. We've not overcompensated for what had happened in the past. They've come for the right reasons. That was the other issue, was that, we could have got back blokes and said we're going to promise you the world, but we've said we're not. And that they need to stand up as leaders, and a lot of them didn't want to leave East Ringwood, I'm telling you that, and a lot of them felt really bad about it. But in discussions with Buzz, he understood that was part of the reasons for them going back. it's certainly left East Ringwood with a big hole, but that's what happens in footy clubs. So, look, they've come back and just their professionalism on the track has helped with the 19s and these boys as well, so it's been really good.
David, what about your own role as footy operations or footy manager? What sort of things are you going to be doing this year that perhaps were different to last year? Obviously, it was your first year last year, so you put some things in place. So what's going to be different this year?
A lot of it has to do with just the off-field, making sure that we've got the right people in the right positions off-field to carry the club forward in small things like we've got a bloke who's a permanent now cooking the dinners on Thursday nights. He's a chef and he's got his own crew with him, and we've got the people running the canteen, which again is a bit different. And we've become quite inclusive. We're looking at all the stuff to do with women and to do with people with disabilities. So we've got people coming on the gate and doing different things like that. So it's been a very, very positive experience that way, and that's basically my role. Having said that, I do miss... I've already sat down, I miss it. I'm sitting here with this on, I'm missing this already. So, I think I'm enjoying Scoresby. It's just a very, very different sort of role. Very different role.
Well, Davo, good luck to yourself this year as the footy manager of Scoresby Football Club, and thanks for dropping in and sharing a little bit about what's going to happen down at the Scoresby Football Club this season, and undoubtedly we'll be talking to you once again throughout season 2018.
Thanks, boys, and before I go, just have to congratulate Matty. I don't know if anyone mentioned his cricketing exploits.
Yeah, we've done that.
Oh, my goodness. I'll tell you what, I've never seen a more stunned group of people at a cricket club looking through record books to see where that has been done before. So, Matty, sensational job this year, mate. Fantastic. Well done.
Shame cricket season at the end now, bro. Everyone's getting around me.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's game day for the first one of many in season 2018, and coming up after the break, the call team assembles to take us through the big clash this afternoon between Blackburn and Doncaster. So keep your dial right here on Radio Eastern 98.1.
Never miss out on the latest information on the Eastern Football League through the league's social media channels. Live updates, information and scores through the league's Twitter account. The latest news and views on Facebook. Don't miss EFL Game Day or the Match Footage Hub on YouTube. And all those happy snaps on the league's Instagram account. Simply search Footy EFL.
Something nice that I have done for someone, I have bought a meal for a homeless person.
Always offer to pick people up from the airport.
I went out with a friend last night. Just being there and listening to what she was going through, I think made all the difference.
I'll write like a little note and put it in the mail. Might just be like, hi, I'm thinking of you.
I took my girlfriend to dinner last week. That's pretty notable for me.
At Tobin Brothers Funerals, they know that every life is unique and they think that every celebration should be too. Find out more at tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Program sponsor.
Nothing better than a companion to keep you up to date with all the latest when you're at the footy. Better still, one that fits in your back pocket. The Eastern Footballer is a must-read. All the latest information, team lists, feature articles and much, much more. Pick up your copy this weekend as you love it local across the Eastern Football League. EFL.org.au is the place to be online for all the latest on the Eastern Football League. Keep up to date by checking out the latest news and feature articles. Have your say in the EFL poll. Check out all the latest EFL videos, and best of all, you can listen back to any EFL radio program at any time. Head to efl.org.au. The Eastern Football League. Local footy at its best.
I'd love to make more time for my loved ones because they really deserve as much help as I can give them.
Because they mean the world to me.
Because eventually they won't be around anymore.
Because I don't want to miss out on watching my brothers grow.
To show them that I value them.
I don't want to regret later on just being too busy.
Apparently a very common regret is that people feel like they didn't make enough time for loved ones.
Tell those you love what they mean to you. Visit tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives. Visit
Program sponsor.
Tobin Brothers Funerals,
continues
celebrating
right here.
lives.
Program sponsor.
Warm-up continues.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Both sides are on the ground this afternoon in the big clash between Blackburn and Doncaster. On the ground this afternoon, the team's going to be made in the best on the band. The team's going to be myself and Dan Sensic will be in the special comments chair, and we welcome myself and Dan Sensic will be in the special comments chair, and we welcome fantastic seasons last year calls game. Stevie White testing season back to the sequence Stevie White testing season back to the sequence
just like that,
it was only 7 months ago just like
Thanks, Brash. It's great to be back to football, especially considering I'm still getting over cricket a little bit. It's actually thrown me off, especially considering I've got to go to a football game at the moment. Especially considering I've got to go to cricket at the moment. And it's great to be at the 40-year-old pride as Pete makes a big pride. It's great to be at the 40-year-old pride as Pete makes a big pride. It's great to be
tipping the first game.
Blackburn have got the on Doncaster. They won their way to the junior final for a win against Doncaster. Doncaster, they won their way to the junior final for a win against Doncaster. They've had Doncaster, they won their way on VFL against Doncaster. I'm not sure how that's going to be integrated. So I'm reserving my tip to be changed from the first quarter. That'll be integrated. So I'm reserving my tip to be changed from the first quarter. That'll be integrated. So I'm reserving my tip to be changed from the first quarter. That'll be integrated. Yeah, Doncaster's for life going against the rain a bit here. Big occasion for them today with Josh Limited playing game night. 200, so fantastic achievement. He's been on with Josh for a long time playing game night. Two big ones. Fantastic.
And I believe Davo's staying on with this for a little while.
Yeah, I'm a bit thanks,
What do you reckon? You and I did this game last year. Between Blackburn and Blackburn. What do you reckon? You and I did this game last year. What do you reckon this year?
I would just like to see that. I'm not sure 100% about their recruiting yet. I really like Doncaster. I'm going to go Doncaster just because I like the way they play. Blackburn is hard to construct to his just because I like the way they play. Really have time to warm up. Blackburn is hard to make it go Doncaster.
Well, I know AWS is going for Doncaster. Well, I know AWS is going for team. Like Gav Casey and Steve White are taking away AWS is going for team. Like Gav Casey and Steve White are taking away
Doncaster. It's the first game of the EFL season, Division 1. What a game to look forward to ahead of the EFL season, Division 1 next week. As a whole, ahead of a special day here, Good Friday, big turnout, at least a couple of thousand, expected to be here. So big turnout, at least a couple of thousand, expected to be here. Exciting. The footy's just about to get underway in 2018. Interesting to see the Key footy just as Doncaster in 2018. Interesting to see the Key footy just as Doncaster in 2018. Interesting to see Doncaster going to the right, off the street, going to Central Road end. They get a bundle of line to South Forward. No Cooper today. He's transferred. So we'll see how Doncaster South Forward goes forward. First free kick is going to Sharks. So we'll see a new boy, Todd Measure, son of the legend from Essendon. So we'll see a new boy, Todd Measure. So short kick, finding the teammate in pocket. Great tight the last few years. Coming, finding the teammate. Equal to ball. First seeded Blackburn falls to the ground. Equal to drop mark by the defender. Quick kick, didn't go as far as he went high, but it might have been taken by the Blackburn defence. Didn't go as far as he went to kick, but out. Another short pass from Hammond on the lead, away from goal. It's a kick, but he's getting it from the first touches from Hammond. Goes in the centre corridor, could be dangerous in his shot. Getting it from the first touches from Hammond. Goes in the centre corridor, could be dangerous in his shot. Leading option, hits him up in the centre corridor, could be dangerous in his shot. And taking us about 40 metres out. One was a usual forward, and taking us about 40 metres out. One was a usual forward, and taking us about 40 metres out.
Really important players need to go not really for Andrew Trent need to start off the game very well. Has been involved in really for Testo.
see the Blackburn do that switch across to the middle, got cut out again. Happy last year do that as well. Across to the middle, big angle for cut out again. Puts it to the goals where drift to the right, will be spoiled over. Big angle for Blackburn, puts it to the goals where drift to the right, one line, leading Blackburn, puts it to the goals where drift to the right, one line, leading Blackburn, puts it to the goals where drift to the right, one line, leading Blackburn, puts it to the goals where drift to the right,
short kick in the finds his target as well. Xavier Murphy plays on quickly, goes short kick in the side. Comes his target is down the far side. He finds his target there in Patrick Waller. Decides to go back. Finds his target there in Patrick Waller. Decides to go back. Finds his target there. The target there is Hammond. He goes up, beat to it there by Hart. Finds the back line. The target there is Shark. He goes hands up there to a target. He's wrapped up there by Hammond. And held to it. Goes hands up there to a target.
He's like Hammond led Brendan Allen very lucky to have a first train with North Melbourne late last year in the VFL. Brendan Allen came out super fit after that straight side of Melbourne late last year in the VFL. Brendan Allen came out super fit after that straight side of Melbourne late last year in the VFL. Brendan Allen came out super fit after that straight side of Melbourne.
Contested by Bailey, couldn't take the mark. Sing down and forward. Contested by Bailey, couldn't take the mark. Sing down and
One player at Blackburn we're really looking forward to. Ryan Backey back for the whole season this year. We're really looking forward to Ryan Backey back for the whole season this year. We're really looking forward to Backey back for the whole season this year.
And a strong mark taken there going away with the way coming by Conway. He continues with the kick up to one direction. Takes him up, plays on, he kicks, and he shanked it wide. Takes second, plays on, he kicks, and he shanked it wide. Takes second, plays on, he kicks, and he shanked it wide.
How good was that transition, Dave? And I was just going to say, in this game, already Blackburn are playing out transition, Dave. And I was just going to say, in this game, already Blackburn are playing out transition, Dave. And I was just going to say, in this game, already Blackburn are playing out transition.
In the contest twice, he's got out of the congested area. This time the kick finds Hammond. He's roaming from half-out. This time the kick goes Hammond. Second of his missed kicks. Blackburn put his numbers together around the contest. Second range just builds under pressure. Gets him Instagram out. Contest of three. Second range is out under pressure. Gets him Instagram win out to find a teammate. Out under pressure. Skip up to Instagram win out to find a teammate. He takes a skip up to Fagan this year. Gets a long inside kick. He takes a step numbers get there with the mark this year. Gets a long inside kick. Maybe a high one, but he had his head over the mark this year. Gets back to his head. 40 metres out the back, but he had his head over the mark. He's a strong boy too. 40 metres out the back, but he had his head over the mark. He's a strong boy goals. And Marcus again is with the orange boots. It's going to be easy to see. We know him. Marcus again is with the orange boots. It's going to be easy to see.
Well, first up, boys, given the weather conditions down here, it's very pleasant to stop on the boys, and the conditions are very nice. So really, sort of late summer's day. There's a few jumper changes just from the guys. First up, boys, one, two, given the exercises done. There's a few jumper changes just from the guys. There's a few playing the game, the kids outdoors playing the few jumper changes just from the guys. There's changes in the playing inside outdoors. Doncaster changes now changes. Bartholomew was in the playing outside, and he's been replaced by Christian Phillips. Jumpers now changes. Bartholomew was in the playing outside, and he's been replaced by Christian Phillips. Jumpers now changes. Just takes further change. And he's been replaced by Christian Phillips. Jumpers now changes. Just takes further change. 5 minutes here in the first quarter. 2 lines. Sharks name 5 minutes here in the first quarter. In comes the super line. Tap one down here. Sharks players going in hard. In comes the super line. Tap one down here. Sharks slap on players going in. Shut up. Feeling early on the clear boys. Sharks slap on players going getting in. Shut up. Feeling early on the clear boys. Sharks slap on players going getting in. Tap down and one now here by the Panthers, and it comes in. Nice mark taken there, my baby. And one now, he's about 50 out. Hand zone goal comes in. He's going to steady now, my baby. One set shot.
Definitely. This is in his range. It's definitely a lovely kick, this guy.
25 last year, second on the team for Blackburn, behind only Jake Hammond. About 50 out. His hand zone goal comes in. He's going to steady now, my baby. 150 out. And this for potentially Blackburn's first score of the afternoon. In comes the kick. It's got the carry. Has it got the accuracy?
It's a great kick.
Is it over?
That's a goal.
It is. Blackburn get their first goal of the afternoon thanks to Bathey. They lead 1 straight 6. Doncaster 2 behind. 6:17 played first quarter on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard.
Well, they had to work fairly hard there, gentlemen, to get their first goal, Blackburn. One of the things, if they're going to push high, they better make sure that their disposal's spot on, because if they turn, with that great risk comes reward, but if they turn it over, Doncaster are going to pounce on it.
It is, but luxury being able to have Hammond play as high as what he is already, and then have the 2 other talls down there. So that's an advantage they've got on this ground at the moment.
Rucks go out at the smaller Coman in the ruck for Doncaster, so it goes Blackburn's way to centre half forward. Underneath it was Hammond. He brings it to ground where Blackburn have got the Rovers. Baffy again in line, 30 metres out, front position. Hardwick just looked on as he wrapped his chest and arms around the ball. Goes Blackburn's way to centre half forward. Underneath it looking was Hammond. He brings it to ground where past 7 minutes in quarter 1. And he's only played 12 games last year because of injury, but averaging over 2. He seems to be the focal point out of the goal square today.
He also played development squad football too, Gavin.
So Ryan Baffy missed it to the right. He just come off the side of the boot, so it's a bad miss. 1-1-7. Blackburn leading Doncaster 2 behinds.
Already that worry with the big players up forward, isn't it, with Blackburn? So maybe Schimmelbusch is going to have to go back to full back.
Yeah, Hartwick obviously just getting used to the nuances of EFL football.
So the kick comes up, contested footy, spoil over the top, and that's going to go straight out. And we'll have a ball up. That was Nick Gray as he makes his way to the interchange bench. And ball up just inside the 50 here for the Burners. And there's had a good crowd in here this afternoon. In comes the ball up, contested footy, knocked down. Doing the roving there is Danaher. And out comes Anarchis, finds a hand pass out now, and he finds his teammate there in Josh Turner. The ball comes up, and that's spilled over the line. Excuse me, that was Thiel.
Yep.
And we will have, looks like it was just going to be a ball up. It feels for deliberate, but no.
There's some players new to us, and when they're late, the changes, we're going to get 1 or 2 wrong. But you got their feel, the new inclusion, so that caught us out there for a sec, didn't it?
Always professional, Gav, always. Here comes the ball, the throw in now from the boundary, knocked out there by Coman into the ruck for Doncaster. The kick straight up and under, no clean hands on it. As players fight, strong tackle applied there by Socio. And well, we've got a free kick coming out of that. Looks like it might have been for in the back, I believe. That's going to go to Fogarty.
He's a welcome return, Socio, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
He was very good early last year before he went overseas.
He probably would have been leading their best and fairest, I reckon, when he left.
So Fogarty's kick, doing the roving there is Banks, dropped what he probably should say. Yes, incorrect disposal, says the umpire, and a free kick going the way at Doncaster. That's picked up there by Monks on the near side, right on the boundary line, 55 out, and looks like he's going to try and find a target there in the goal square. It looks like he's going to have a ping, actually. Monks, 23 goals last year, 3rd season at the Sharks. Didn't play in 2016. As he comes in now, the kick, it's got the distance, and it was marked on the line.
Looks like Lumisisi.
Yeah, Lumisisi has taken the mark right on the line. Didn't play in 2016. And may have cost his teammate a goal. Doesn't matter. He's put it straight through the middle. And that's the Doncaster Sharks' first goal of the afternoon. They lead 1-2-8. Blackburn 1-1-7. 10 minutes gone. First quarter.
Well, James Monks would fancy himself whenever he finds himself in range. We saw Doncaster last year, didn't we, Davo, against Norwood, and I think he kicked about 4 or 5 that day, so it was very exciting to watch. Lumachisi just marking that one on the line there. As he said, he's probably robbed Monks of a goal, but in his big milestone game, why wouldn't you?
He's going to have to take the place of Daniel Hooper this year, James Monks. They're very similar in build and height. He's going to have to play that role this year.
I think definitely, and having him and Kalange up there, I think gives them that quite a good focal point as far as their good mid-range forwards.
Don't mind Lubachisi going for the mark and stop the spoiler, intercepting Mark's effort, and Doncaster win the ball out through Saville. They go to the left flank, going wide before they go deep from Van der Haar's kick. Goes long into the pocket, one-arm effort, drops to the ground. So Doncaster keep it in the area close to the boundary of the left pocket, and finally be bundled over. So Doncaster have had a few forward entries. How to reassess their systems going forward so far, Davo?
Well, look, I think they're definitely going a lot longer than what I thought they might go. But, and both sides are going around the outside. No one's going through the middle at this stage.
They've seen a turnover, how it can cost a score here at this shorter ground. So maybe the corridor might be, until you got control, might be not the place to go early on.
Oh, it was one of the things about Blackburn last year was that they were willing to take the corridor on at all costs. Even if they made mistakes, they were willing to take it on. So it'll be interesting to see as they get going whether they'll continue to do that, especially here.
So the boundary throw-in resulted in a ball up, and that ball up close to line has now been bundled over for boundary throw-in. I seem to have a skill at creating stoppages, so I'm going to hand it over.
I put the mocker on me, Gav.
Well, I had about 5 in a row the first game last year, didn't I?
So 12 minutes in, first quarter, it's the Burners by 1 point as a kick now coming out, falls out here to Thiel. His kick in towards the goal square, contested footy, and well punched out there as Lumashidi probably tried to take the mark. Ball in dispute, strong tackle applied there by Conway on Mitch Thorpe, and we'll have a ball up.
Davo, you mentioned the game plan of Blackburn last year of Con Caravis using the corridor. Speaking of Brendan Allen through the week, they've tinkered with that a little bit, but don't be surprised if you still see elements of Con's game plan this year.
Al McKenzie decided to leave the ball up. The ball comes into dispute, and Anarchis laying the tackle. It falls in now into the hands of Saville. He takes a pop, and he puts it wide, just the minor score here for the Sharks, and that extends their lead to 2 points. They lead 1-3-9, Blackburn 1-1-7, 12:30 played here in the first quarter.
I've got to say, I'm really impressed with the pressure that both sides are applying each other in their forward 50s at this early stage of the game.
Hammond was the target from the kick out, but Doncaster good to spoil and get it at ground level. A Fogarty over the top to Anarchis from the boundary, gets it towards goals. He's just pulled it a little left, and the late spoil concedes another point for Doncaster. 1-4-10 to 1-1-7. 13 minutes gone, first term.
They got opened up a little bit then. Blackburn got to be careful of that.
So short kick in. Socho couldn't take the mark. Ball on the deck, trying to dispose there of the Burners, and while trying to do the roving there was done. He managed to get the footy forward. Oh, strong challenge, and away come Blackburn now here through Young. His kick up towards centre half forward in the direction of Hammond. 1-on-1 there with Schimmelbusch. Hammond wins the footy. Well, now has it, finds the hands out. Great tackle applied there on Young. The ball jars aloft, and then out comes Alessi with the clearing kick. A grubber indeed, but it's fired right back in there by Gray. And a bit of aerial ping-pong there on the 50-metre line. And finally, Blackburn have control of the footy about 60 metres out from home. And the kick comes in now. Direction there of Hammond versus Marganis. And he takes the mark! What a mark there from Jake Hammond. Won the contest against two Sharks players. Control of the footy, and he's going to go back 60 metres out, 20 metres out, directly in front. And the kick comes in now.
I reckon that pre-season at North Melbourne is going to be more, because I tell you what, he's looking pretty lithe at the moment.
Oh, Stevie J.
Oh, he snaps around the body, puts it straight through.
Very laconic as you like.
Blackburn take the lead, 2-1-13. They're second of the afternoon. They lead Doncaster 1-4-10. 14 and a half gone on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard.
Gee, if you had to miss that, I don't reckon Brendan Allen wouldn't be too impressed.
But if it means they get more than half of them, you'd back him.
Yeah, and look, and I agree with you, Brash. The fact that he's able to run the way he is, he's got a great motor.
Yeah.
He's being able to play, transition up and down the ground as much as he likes, and he is so dangerous overhead. So they've certainly got some big keys up forward at the moment. They're very different to Doncaster, who push out wide and then bring it in a little bit lower into their forward line. So very distinct styles at the moment.
What I love about that mark is he had front position and he took it uncontested, but he spread himself so wide and his legs were all over the place. He made it look so spectacular. So we got fooled into being a specky. It was, but he is a spectacular mark. Normally he jumps over the top of players, but this time he used strength to hold the front position. Free kick in the middle goes to Doncaster. Mackenzie's waiting for the ball to come back as Doncaster just torpedoed it in as far as they could, but the umpire said bring it back.
And that's when you get angry as a coach for the player doing that, because now it's allowed Blackburn to go all the way back, transition back and pick everyone up.
So there's no runners for Mackenzie until Schimmelbusch comes from the back of the square, drives his left foot through the ball. The leaders come at it, and at ground level, Alessi picks up the ball, just bombs it into the pocket, hoping for a mark. Punch comes in late, and Blackburn have got numbers at ground level in the back pocket and get it to the outer wing. But in good position is Hardwick, who may have made a switch on players. So he's got a new opponent now, Hardwick, as he looks at his options. All players ahead of him just about. So he kicks as far as he can. Got a not a bad option. Tout was in good position, not a noted marker. Overhead that is. And at ground level, Blackburn working it nicely. They're flooding forward from deep in defence. They get it long. The spoil comes late from McKenzie. Big punch as he pushes his body through the pack and he knocks the ball and concedes a point. So it's Blackburn at 2-2-14 to Doncaster 1-4-10.
That was just a classic. Everyone pushed in forward, basically 50, and then as soon as they got the ball, they all raced back out. It's the way that looks like Blackburn are going to play.
Hartwig's kick straight up the centre of the down. The target there was McKenzie. It's knocked to the ground there, picked up here by Gray. He gets a quick hand pass out, and here come Blackburn. A short kick in, and that's marked there by Gray, and he's about 50 metres out.
Gee, there's nothing of him.
No.
Picked up here by Gray. He gets a quick hand pass
So that's
out.
a Dorian.
Excuse me. Jumper change is getting me again.
Mackenzie Dorian.
Dorian, yeah.
Yep.
So, Dorian.
Number 22.
We're all over the place. We'll get Brett Beston to confirm again for us because I missed it.
Here's the kick now. It's shanked a little to the left. That's just the minor score. And that'll take Blackburn 2-3-15. They lead Doncaster 1-4-10. Let's go down to Brett Beston.
You did right, boys. Yeah, Dorian's in jumper 22.
Thank you very much.
And is Hood 31? Not going to get a response.
Gray's in 31, boys. Nick Gray is 31, and the other one was McIntyre, who's in jumper 4.
Yeah. So it's good of them to confuse us early as we go deep out of defence. But Blackburn again have got the numbers, trying to burst their way out of the pack. Hand pass finally comes to Banks, who goes to the wing. He's got 5 defenders around him, and Hammond can't help him. And Nathan Hammond, the vice captain, and he gets taken down in the tackle. So they were under a heap of pressure where Blackburn, as they did win the ball, but they were swamped by numbers on the wing. So they get to reset. Rucks go at it. Anarka's close to the boundary line, is first to get on the ball. That tumbles it forward 30, and it's now pushed over the line from the next players at half forward. So I think it's just going to be ground. It's just some getting into some territory at this close quarters as we tick towards time on first term. Anarka's getting pushed wide to get his possession so far. A couple of possessions close to the boundary. Will suit Blackburn if he maintains that out for the day. That's a push in the back with the tackle. Unlucky, the physicality went over the top, and it's going to be a free kick to Hart. So Hart will pick himself up finally.
Oh, just giving away 15, yeah.
But there was no concession of getting out of the way of the ball. So Doncaster conceded 25, but they've set up nicely. So Monks held up the play with Hart, but the defence has got into the area, and now the spoil comes in. At ground level, picked up by Young. He's been tackled straight away by Malloy, and Malloy allows it to go out of bounds after it spilled out of his hands. So it's a ball in 45 metres out from Blackburn's goals. They lead by 5 points, 19 minutes gone first term. Rucks go out at Conway, comes from over the top, trying to use his athleticism, but at ground level pushing off was Reed. Finally kicks around the corner to the goal square. Baffy's being outnumbered at ground level. Who has got the numbers? Blackburn first there, trying for the over the shoulder as he dipped his knees and he tried to reel in the tackle was Thorpe, but the umpire wasn't buying what he was selling. So it's going to be a ball up, 15 metres out. Doncaster trying to hold up. Anarkis goes through traffic, hands it out to Saville. Saville just loads up a Torp, and it does wobble its way to the middle of the ground. At ground level, it's Faulkner roving it for the Burners. He goes out wide, and Dorian, who picks it up, goes on his left, just puts it as long as possible. Buffy coming in late, but standing tall. Beautiful by Schimmelbusch, the legend of the club, the stalwart. And he just plays on quickly, goes out to the left flank, and he finds his teammate in Alessi.
Alessi now elects to play on, hand pass over the top now here to Rambaldi. He kicks up towards centre wing. And while Mark dropped what he should have taken, it's taken away now here by Compton here for Blackburn. His hand pass goes astray. Blackburn retain possession of the footy. In comes the kick in towards centre half forward. The mark touchdown there. Schimmelbusch goes in hard, does the roving, manages to get the footy out. Hardwick and Arcus, and now on to his teammate there in Laybelt. As the Doncaster trying to burst through their own defensive zone. The kick there from Malloy was smothered off the boot. Here's a chance for Baith. He gets the hand pass over the top. Now for Mitch Thorpe. As players going in hard here in the Doncaster defensive end, and that's finally cleared out by Conway, and his kick is just inside the right side of the boundary line. They will get a boundary throw.
You can tell it's the first game of the season with all the mistakes happening. I'm sure as the season progresses, they'll be ironing these things out.
Not least of which in the commentary booth. And his kick is just inside.
That was my silent in my own head.
Mate, I was on 2 minutes and I had a faux pas.
As Anarchis does the roving, can't win a clean footy, and players dive in, and we'll have a ball up.
I really like the way Blackburn's set up. They've got a lot of players they set up behind the football for that secondary handball out the back, whereas they're a little bit too close. They're like a 1 metre contest, all the Doncaster players.
So Mackenzie to do the rucking and Arcus to do the roving. Neither can complete either. As a hand pass now coming out there from Gray, comes out now here to Hall. He's racked up by 3 Blackburn players, one of them being Jordan Hart, and we'll have another ball up on the centre wing area. It's closer to the Doncaster side, the Blackburn attacking 50. As Mackenzie Coleman flies in the ruck, and well, that's knocked out of bounds, and we'll have a boundary throw in for something different. I'm putting the mocker on you now, Gav. It's your turn.
I'll play them out. So it's a ruck contest, 55 metres out from the goal of Blackburn. They lead by 5, 22 minutes gone first term. Mackenzie had the height from the back position to win it to ground level. Hall tries to keep it in. One of the 3 recruits that came from Strathfield, who won a premiership last year. So they're looking forward to his input this year.
Gee, we certainly can't miss Chris Anarchis, can we, with those boots on? Have a look how orange they are.
Well, the tagger should never lose sight of him. As at ground level, Thorpe walks over the top of it. Finally, it spills out the way of the Burners. So a long kick by Hood from 50. And did it bounce in? I didn't think it was, so I petered off. It hit the ground 2 metres to the right of the post and curled its way in out the way with a nice off break. That nice Gary would be the good comment. But it is Jackson Hood getting on the board. Blackburn 3-3-21, leading Doncaster 1-4-10.
That'll be the best thing that's happened in Australian cricket this week, don't you reckon?
That was poor.
Stick the knife in as far as it'll go. Though.
Yeah, that was poor from Hardwick, though. You know, as a defender, you got to do better than that. I know he lost sight of the footy, but can't allow that sort of stuff to occur.
Yeah, just sort of like he lost sight of it. Just lost sight of the flight.
Yeah.
So either way, it's a major score now here for the Blackburn as they win the centre contest as well. In comes the kick in the direction there of. Well, it's moved up now. That's better from Hardwick. He gets tackled there by Bathy. Fans want a free kick. Nothing forthcoming. That's over the boundary line and forward pocket.
The one thing that Hardwick is going to have to get to learn here, he's not going to get as much time in the AFL as he does in the Essendon District Football League because the forward lines are used to putting so much more pressure on.
Yep. Mackenzie wins the tap down. Doncaster trying to get it out. Oh, this is a loose footy, but rushed into the point post there is Hardwick.
Ouch.
And won himself a free kick, I think, in the process.
Putting so much more pressure on.
Yep. Mackenzie wins the tap down. Doncaster trying to get it out. Oh, this is a loose footy. So Hardwick to bring this one back in now here for Doncaster. Well into time on. 24 minutes played here in the first term. Blackburn with an 11-point lead. The kick out now here towards the half-back flank. And, well, play going nowhere. There's a good strong tackle applied on Van der Haar, and we'll have a ball up.
Interesting point you make there, Brash, about Hardwick. Obviously, he's come in from the EDFL. Blackburn have been moving the ball in really quickly this opening quarter, so he's been put under a lot of pressure.
Yep. So a quick kick forward by Fogarty at ground level, gets it to half forward. Big spoil comes in. Blackburn hoping for the boundary line, but Anarchis keeps it in, but he's tackled over the line. So it'll be a ball up centre wing outer side of Moreton Park. Close to quarter time. Blackburn 3-3-21, leading by 11. Doncaster 1-4-10. So rucks go out at Mackenzie, holds his spot, gets to ground level with Fogarty again, picks it up. He just boots it as long as he can. Lumachese trails his opposition to the ball, and Hammond will chop it off. Gets it out wide, looking for his teammate on the bounce. It's Gray, trying to get my numbers in my head right now as the hand pass goes across half back. And skirting around there was Parker. Parker gets it out to the outer wing. So it's now flying towards Reed, who's got open space at half forward. Leading option coming at him is Baffy, and he takes the mark. Second grab at it. He's looking at his options further aboard. He's got Watkins doing a lead. He's going to go to Hammond, who now uses his body in the marking contest. No jump from him. And the spoil comes in from Benny McGarnis and is knocked over the boundary line, back pocket.
One of the things that Andrew Tranquilli was worried about was the outside spread. On that occasion, Doncaster was spread right open, and their back line at the moment is under huge pressure.
Doncaster win the tap out, but it's at ground level where Watkins picks it up, but he wasn't going anywhere because Molloy was right on his hammer. So it's going to be a ball up 30 metres out from Blackburn's goal. They look to extend their 11-point lead late in this first term. Rucks go at it, holding his ground again was McKenzie. And at ground level, it's been quickly kicked out by Monks. He just dribbles the ball through the centre corridor. Players seem to run all around the ball, but finally picking up was Parker. He shares it around. Blackburn have got numbers on outer wing, got some run. Now the ball, just with the late challenge, was a turnover kick there from Parker, and it's been marked by Rambaldi.
So his kick up towards the half-forward line. Plenty of contest there. Not much Van der Haar could do with it. Loose footy on the deck. Players dive in. Parker gets a handball out, and in turn does Hammond. And the play comes now into the hands there of Dunn. His handball, well, gathered in now and taken away there by a good hand blast by Danaher, and out come Blackburn. Here's the kick in towards the half-forward flank. Hartwig got knocked off the footy, but got knocked straight onto the footy and almost forced over the boundary line, and eventually done so is Molloy. Will have a boundary throw in right on the 50.
Blackburn are doing everything right except their delivery into the forward line. They probably could be 6 goals to 1 up here.
Yeah, I think they've been far more impressive than Doncaster. They've really just scrambled the ball out of defence, haven't they?
And every time they bomb it in, the Doncaster tall backmen just punch it over the line.
And so unable to keep that on the right side of the line there was Paddy Conton, and we'll have another boundary throw in. Well into time. 27 minutes played here, first term, 11 points the difference. 3-3-21 leads 1-4-10 in favour of Blackburn. So McKenzie, in the ruck there against Banks. It's knocked down for Conton to scoot onto. He turns the corner and spears one in towards full forward. Not much to aim at. The smallest player on the field there, McKenzie. And Mackenzie Dorian, and the kick now comes out towards the outer side, and the mark taken there by Thiel now. His kick in towards centre wing. Well, it was a poor one, and it was taken straight away by Conton. He gets the footy back where he had it just moments ago. He puts a kick now in towards centre half forward. The target there being Hammond. Well in there was Hartwig. Wrapped up in the tackle there was Alessi, and he's sent to the ground inside the 50. We'll have a ball up.
I think there's a lot of Doncaster players getting lost in transition. It seems to be when the ball goes down Blackburn's forward line, there's a lot of one-on-ones. Goes down Doncaster's forward line, there's 4 Blackburn to 1 Doncaster. Getting lost in transition, I think.
McKenzie wins the tap, and Doncaster win the footy there through Fogarty. His kick up towards centre half forward, and a great mark taken there by Conway, and he's away in hot pursuit. There is Faulkner, made a meal of the bounce, and had to apply the tackle in the end. And Hall now gets a hand pass out there to his teammate Will, and he kicks in. That's the siren, and that won't count in terms of a mark, and that will do it. Made a meal of the bounce, and had to apply the tackle in the end. Blackburn, and Hall now gets a hand pass Doncaster 1-4-10 on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard.
That was somewhat of a case in point there of what you just said there, Davo, to fumble that. We know Tyler Faulkner's rarely beaten one-on-one, of course, so they've been let off a few times, Blackburn, when Doncaster have gone forward, and that's another one of those occasions.
Yeah, again, I think they just were a little bit clumsy, Doncaster, but the point needs to be taken. And when Blackburn got it out and went sideways, they really used the ball well. Their handball out of defence was excellent. Their movement of the football to probably just centre side of the wing was great. It was then when they got into the forward line, they probably put it too much in the air and expecting the forwards to take too many marks, and some of the Doncaster players come back onto it.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's quarter time here at Moreton Park, and the score is Blackburn 3-3-21 to Doncaster 1 goal 4-10. Keep your dials here on Radio Eastern 98.1. We'll be back after the break to bring you all the action from the second quarter right here on Radio Eastern 98.1.
A scent or a song or a food that reminds me of someone. Lavender reminds me of my grandmother.
There's albums, when I listen to them, I think back to my dad playing them to me.
Vanilla perfume reminds me of my mum.
The smell of Yorkshire pudding reminds me of my old man. He was a great Yorkshireman.
An Italian pasta dish reminds me of my grandmother.
Be remembered for the greatest moments in your life. Find out more at tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Program sponsor.
Join the EFL media team for unrivaled coverage of the Eastern Football League in 2016. The Huddle takes a light-hearted look at the league for 2 hours from 4:30 every Friday evening. From 1 p.m. Saturdays, EFL Game Day gives you play-by-play from the game of the round, as well as all the latest live scores from around the East. Then a full wrap of all games from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. every weekend on EFL Sunday. The EFL media team have it covered as you love it local in 2016.
Something nice that I have done for someone, I have bought a meal for a homeless person.
I always offer to pick people up from the airport.
I went out with a friend last night. Just being there and listening to what she was going through, I think made all the difference.
I'll write like a little note and put it in the mail. Might just be like, hi, I'm thinking of you.
I took my girlfriend to dinner last week. That's pretty notable for me.
At Tobin Brothers Funerals, they know that every life is unique and they think that every celebration should be too. Find out more at tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Program sponsor.
For the best EFL rap on radio, don't miss EFL Sunday. From 10 till 12 every Sunday morning, the EFL media team bring you all the final scores, goal kickers, best players and ladders, following a big round of EFL footy. The gang talk to the biggest names from across the league each and every week. EFL Sunday, from 10 every Sunday morning on 98.1 Radio Eastern. Never miss out on the latest information on the Eastern Football League through the league's social media channels. Live updates, information and scores through the league's Twitter account.
EFL Saturday Game Day continues. Let's head back and go local for your footy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Quarter time here at Moreton Park. It's Blackburn, 3 goals, 3-21, leading Doncaster 1 goal, 4-10. Goal kickers for Blackburn, Jake Hammond, Ryan Batty, and...
What are you up to?
Jackson Hood.
Yeah.
Whilst for Doncaster, Josh Lumasisi, the only single goal kicker, and Jensen, an interesting first quarter there. Both sides testing each other out, and interesting to see when Blackburn moved the ball from transition across the ground. They really had Doncaster on the back foot, Dan Sensi.
Yeah, certainly do. And speaking to Andrew Tranquilli during the week, that was one of the things that they wanted to combat this week, because obviously they've lost the last 3 matches against Blackburn, of course, and that's killed them time and again, especially in the final series last year when they went down by 38 points. But they do look dangerous, Blackburn. Every time they go forward, they move it so quickly inside forward 50, and they got great hands. Bathy's one of them. Jake Hammond's another who's taken a couple of great grabs. Doncaster, when they've gone forward, they've been wasteful. They've been let off the hook so many times, Blackburn, of course. So that last play there, of course, fumbling the ball, and, you know, these things add up on the scoreboard. And, look, Blackburn should probably be further in front.
Yeah, and look, one of the issues is that if you're going to go wide on this ground, that's okay, but when you come back inside, you've got to have a marking target. And unfortunately, Doncaster don't have that marking target deep that they can go in, because they've gone outside quite a few times quite nicely, but the problem is they're trying to take shots from 45 out on the boundary each time, and, you know, the percentages for those are quite low.
One of the things that I've noticed with Blackburn too is they are really trying to make Matt Schimmelbusch and both Benny Marganis really accountable off that half-back line. Marganis is actually having to mind Watkins when Jake Hammond goes on the ball, and vice versa when Jake comes back. Brett Beston on the boundary line.
G'day, boys. I'm just going to jump in and get hold of Brendan just to get his quarter-time message. Brendan, what was the message to the boys at quarter-time?
Look, it's just a bit of an arm wrestle at the moment, and, you know, I thought it'd be helter-skelter early, but it was a funny start to the game. It's sort of both sides are feeling each other out, and then sort of that 10-minute mark, then it started to ramp up a little bit. I think around stoppage we were on top, but we're just not utilising our ball into forward 50, so we've just got to tidy that up, and then, you know, hopefully the floodgates are open at some point.
Good stuff. Good luck.
Yeah, and thanks, Brett, from the boundary line there with Coach Brendan Allen. Just getting back to what we were talking about, the other thing too that I noticed is normally in these opening games of the season, one side normally jumps out to a relatively good start and plays really good positive football, but because of conditioning they sort of it runs out, and the other side comes home in the second half. We haven't seen it in this game. Boundary. It's been a lot more close-knit. Matty Fodia on the boundary line.
Thanks, Brash. Just over the Doncaster huddle, mate. Initially, Lushimi addressed the group and spoke about the extra players Blackburn were managing to get around the contest, and they're going to try and stop the sweeper. So they've identified Faulkner, number 27 for Blackburn, as the man who's setting up all their attacks from defence. So watch for a bit more attention on him. They were happy with their one-on-ones inside forward 50 and their quick forward entries, so they're happy with that. The things they need to improve on is more effort pressure-wise, no treading water. Andrew Tranquilli wasn't very happy with some players just sort of conserving energy in this first game. He's happy for them to come off the ground if they're absolutely cooked, in his own words, but he needs more effort and needs more conviction with their decision-making. There was a couple of instances there where Malloy came off his line in the zone and was sort of 50-50 and didn't quite affect the contest, and it led to a couple of goals.
Well, he's probably right there. You've got to run in the first couple of games. You should be fit enough to be running your 8 minutes in your rotations.
You can tell that a few people are just out on their legs here, but he doesn't mind that. But he wants people to make sure they're just going through it, get off the ground, and don't worry about those rotations. There's a bit of it to do in the middle here. Mackenzie's going at it here. Someone said something here.
Okay. Thanks, Matty Fodia on the boundary line. Yeah, it's a little bit of how to do in the midfield, but our resident Pavarotti there, Tim Phillips, will make sure that they're all back on song, and we're ready to start off with the second quarter era. So take it away, Gav Casey and Stevie White.
So as we wait to get the second quarter underway, the umpires got the ball in hand. It's just waiting for the siren. He holds the ball aloft. It's Blackburn leading 3-3-21, 11-point advantage at quarter time. Mackenzie up against Banks. Mackenzie's got the height, but the leap of Banks gets over the top. Umpire off the side of the square sees an infringement, and he'll give the free kick to Doncaster, and Narcus seem to be held off the contest and will take the free kick at the centre of Moreton Park. He puts it long and into the direction of Kalange, who finishes up being in the back, but it falls to him. He grabs it, the smother comes in as he tries to put foot to the ball, and Blackburn are good to rush it out. There's that man Faulkner, who's a sweeper. The umpire will give some aid to the Burners by finding a free kick for a push in the back behind Faulkner when he kicked it. So it's going to be a free kick taken, well, slightly upfield, but at the back 50, it will be in the hands of Gray. Still learning to adjust my attention to the number changes, but Gray has got the ball at half back. Puts it long to Hammond, who's jostling for position. McGarnis is there to spoil at ground level. Blackburn are fighting for the ball through the skipper, Content. Van der Haar picks it up close to the line, but a whistle is blowing. It might be another off-the-ball free kick, and it will go the way of the Sharks. So from half-back, Anarchis has got again. So he's getting closely attended to, is Anarchis. He goes into the middle of the ground, finds Magarnis. Magarnis looks at his options. He's got Anarchis to skirt around his back, get the ball off him, and he goes from one flank to the other, almost backwards to Hardwig. Hardwig has been now late challenge as he kicks it to half forward. The spoil was effectual, and it's been picked off by Dorian, who kicks it over the top. 15 metres in advance, it goes to Murphy. Murphy off to the runner. The runner in Hart drives it long inside 50. Players go up for the ball. Ground level, Baffy going for a dribbler from 30 metres out, puts it to the teeth of the goal, but he misses slightly to the left as the bounce of the ball didn't suit. 3-4-22. It's a two-goal lead to Blackburn.
Their leg speed's a bit of a worry as well, isn't it, Blackburn? They're just, apart from Anarchis, they haven't got genuine leg speed at the moment out there.
That's
Doncaster.
where Cooper would have been handy, I reckon.
So Hartwig's short kick, and still deep in their own 50 here, Doncaster. They trail by 11 points here at Moreton Park. The kick comes back now to Hartwig. He switches it down the other side of the ground, and the mark taken outside there by Marganis. His short kick in there finds Leibelt, and he plays on quickly, turns the corner, kick into the centre of the ground there to Whelan. He looks upfield. Intended target there is Alessi, couldn't take the mark. Ball on the deck, the hand pass comes out now here to Marr. Marr, he lost possession in that contest. Wrapped up there is Hall, he's not going anywhere. Strong tackle applied by Danaher, and we'll have a ball up on the 50 here for Doncaster.
Oh, there's off the ball. This time
no.
it's against Anarchis, but he was getting harassed big time by Murphy, and he just fought him off, and the umpire saw the free kick.
So draws the free inside his own 50. Here does Murphy. Now he kicks this one out to the far side. Intended target there is Hammond of the Nathan variety. He moves out down near the far side of the wing and kicks it up towards the half-forward flank. Contested footy. No one can take hold of it. Ball ends up on the deck. Jake Hammond in there, and as is Coman, and we'll have a ball up on the 50.
Real big responsibility this year for Anarchis, being named the sole captain the other night, of course. Matt Schimmelbusch standing aside, who's actually on the coaching panel this year. So he's getting a bit frustrated out there, of course, with the attention that he must be receiving.
Tout with a high up and under, straight up and under, and that one bounces through. Hart there for Blackburn. He gets tackled. Anarchis tries to sock her off the ground. Thorpe manages to get it out. Hart's in there again there for Blackburn. And a contested footy. 4 players in there. We'll have another ball up. With 4 minutes played, it's 3-4-25. Blackburn leading Doncaster 1-4-10 on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard.
I'm seeing a potential issue with Doncaster already. A lack of a key centre-half forward. Could be hurting them too here.
A strong tackle applied there by Tyler Faulkner. And we'll have another ball up.
As I say, they've got some very good, 6'2" half-forward flankers, but no one that's that really big target, have they?
No.
Conton tries to burst through the pack, and there's 4 other players in his way. And we'll have another ball up.
Davo, we saw Greg Jarvis just before. He would have been handy on a day like today. That means McKenzie can move up forward as a tall target, and Jarvis can ruck.
Exactly.
So McKenzie wins the tap over his head, tries to get it forward of this stoppage, but it is a large amount, a lot of numbers around the ball. It's about 10 on each side, so it's going to take a quick kick out of the pack to get it away from this scrimmage. So that's what tried by Hard, but his ball got smothered by the numbers. Eventually Blackburn kick it forward to centre forward. Running with the flight of the ball is Rambaldi. He gets tackled as soon as he grabs it, so it flings back towards Blackburn's goals. Where first to pick it up is Malloy, but now he's under a heap of pressure. Does nicely, gets it out to Rambaldi, who charges his way out of defence. Kicks it long to Conway, who sort of jump wasn't in line with the ball, but he's there to take a hand pass as he runs through the wing. He puts a hopeful ball forward of the runner, and the runner's Alessi from 40, stretches himself. He had time to assess his options and steady for goal. And Lumachisi was saying, I'm standing on the goal line with no one around me, kick it to me, but he kicked it on the full.
I think the worst thing was he had Anarchis standing next to him, that if you want someone to finish the game, give it to him.
Well, he should have finished it. He had no pressure.
There's Thorpe. Oh, he was taken high. He's won himself a free. Well, off to the races there was Lawler. And, well, not in the opinion of the umpire. And, well, we're going to have take 3 on that free kick because Thorpe tried to go at himself. And he'll take the free kick here on the half-back flank, far side of the ground now here for Blackburn. Week 1 of the EFL here on 98.1 Eastern FM or streaming around the world, efl.org.au, as this one put in towards the centre wing area. Contested footy there by Rambaldi. He spoils it over the line, and we'll have a boundary throw in.
I don't think they'll be happy with that because they had a number of players, Blackburn, that have pushed down deep. The 2 little chips across ground would have opened it all up, and they've gone into a congested area. So I think it was a poor choice of kick, that one.
So McKenzie to do the rucking against Banks. He's been good in the ruck so far this afternoon, I thought. As Fogarty dives in there for Doncaster, he can't get out of it. And we'll have a ball up.
I see that Doncaster are getting more numbers around the stoppages. First quarter, they were conceding the numbers around the contest, and at least they had the defence set up for it, but this time it's more of a one-on-one competition.
And Arcus doing the roading was held without, and he's got himself a free kick.
I reckon the problem is with that, Gav, is the fact that you can win all the stoppages you like, but you've got to have someone. You've got to have someone down at your key forward post to direct the ball to when you're running through your midfield and along the flanks.
And that's why Blackburn didn't kick more than 3 goals, because they just didn't have that last pass open.
So we just had a 25-metre penalty just behind that stoppage. Quick kick in short, finds Socio. And, well, that was chopped off, and Blackburn start the build-up from their half-back line. Here comes the kick.
There's been a report back here.
Oh, we've had something off the ball.
Yes.
A yellow card. And, well, Blackburn, that's
looks like
one way to snuff out your momentum.
Is that Reid? 21?
Yep, that's Jason Reid going off the ground. Didn't see what that was for.
17.
17, that's Banks. So they're without a ruckman.
Well, the Banks have had a hard time in the last year, get cop a lot of criticism, and then they go and do this.
We're going to need a Royal Commission into that one-liner, Gav.
Some of your best work there, Gav.
Are you for real?
Yeah, used it up far too early, Gav. Used it up far too early.
Well.
So it's quarter 2 of game 1 of the EFL season, but Doncaster are going to have a set shot.
I'll set Robin on, dear.
From about 40 metres out.
Not the umpire, that's for sure.
Here's McKenzie. His kick is a good one, straight through the middle. And that's the second goal of the afternoon there for Doncaster. They are 2-4-16. They trail by 6. Blackburn 3-4-22. 8.5 gone here, second term.
Well, you would say that Doncaster are just hanging in there, because even though we're criticising them for not taking opportunities, Blackburn have had quite a lot of the football and they haven't hurt them.
Well, Doncaster will be pretty happy at the moment because they've not been able to get their game going, and yet they've been able to keep within a goal.
Let's go down to Matt Fodia.
Yeah, so Mackenzie's definitely getting in the heads of some of the Blackburn defenders. Banks was, I believe, striking him there behind the play, and now he's still going down there at Nathan Hammond. And so watch out for Mackenzie. He's starting a little bit off the ball.
Fogarty sharked the ruck contest, but he was quickly harassed off the ball, and Blackburn get the ascendancy back. Hammond was held as he went for the ball at centre forward, so he kicks it long. Flying contest. Baffy was in the back position, so he brought it to ground, where Blackburn trying to get creative as they tunnel the ball and get it back into the corridor, where Lawler is wrapped up and Doncaster hold strong in defence through Fogarty.
I'm happy to see that they've got Mackenzie down at full forward. At least it gives them a big target to kick the ball down to.
I agree, and the one thing about Doncaster is they're going to be tough all day.
Yep.
They're not going to take a backward step at all.
The umpire slowing things down, wants to wrestle control away from the niggle. At ground level, who can grab the ball? It's a hot contest at half forward for Blackburn. Eventually they spoon a hand pass into the corridor. Picked up by Marr, gets his hand pass forward. Marr goes in again. He has to jump over and try to elude the tackles. Again it falls to ground, where Doncaster are surging onto the ball, but they can't get out of the congestion, and Blackburn are in for the contest as well, so it's wrapped up.
The last 5 minutes, the tackling intensity has really gone up from both sides. Neither side are getting an easy ball here.
So it's a ball up 60 metres around from the goal of Blackburn, trying to get his way through. Danaher just hand passes it to the boundary side, hoping he's got a player on the outside, but no avail, and the ball just gets killed and out of bounds 45 metres around from Blackburn's goal.
So 10.5 gone, approaching the halfway mark here this second quarter. There's Blackburn with a 6-point lead over Doncaster in round one of the EFL. Anarchis trying to do the roving there. It was, I think someone tried to go Ronaldo style off the ground. I believe that was Socio.
You better be careful. We're probably going to be ahead there.
Yeah. And a ball up on the 50. The tap one down now here by Blackburn. Swooping on it was Danaher. He was tackled there by Schimmelbusch, and we'll have a ball up.
Just one-on-ones all over the ground at the moment.
The ball on the deck. Danaher again trying to bust through. He gets tackled there by Saville. And ball up number 3 in about 20 seconds here on the 50-metre line.
And this probably suits Doncaster more than it does Blackburn. But in this case, but Doncaster have to make them pay if they're going to get the game on their terms on like this.
Anarchis tries to kick off the ground. Ball loose. Several players going in there. One of them being Mackenzie Dorian, and that one he ends up on the bottom of that pack, and we'll have yet another ball up. So into the ruck now goes Socio. He wins it straight up and puts it straight up into the air. One-on-one contest. Hammond knocks it down onto the boot there. Bathy, he puts one. He's put it through. Well, Bathy is second of the afternoon. Blackburn's fourth. They lead 4-4-28. Doncaster 2-4-16. Hammond knocks it down in the second quarter.
Well, Blackburn makes something out of nothing there, really. I mean, the play the last 5 minutes has been really tough and inside, and just a little opportunity there in the forward pocket just allowed Blackburn to take a little bit of an advantage, and Ryan Bathy basically took advantage of it and got a goal.
And good sides do that, don't they? They make something out of nothing, particularly good players, and we know how great Ryan Bathy has been.
Yep.
Doncaster will be very disappointed, though, because they thought they were getting the momentum back a little bit their way.
Rucks go at it. Mackenzie does well, but at ground level, it's the roving from the player in grey who gets it long inside 50, but it's been free kick or mark paid to the defence of Doncaster. So the kick goes out to Conway, who might have a teammate getting in his way. Late there was Wheel, and so Conway didn't finish up going for the mark, and the spoil was allowed to come in front of those two. And out of bounds it goes from that punch. Half forward now for Blackburn, 70 metres around from their goals. Just a bit of cohesion finding their way out of defence is affecting Doncaster. Again, Mackenzie gets the front position, wins the tap down, but has to be doing his own work at ground level. And he's jumped upon and be a ball up. So I wonder how long Mackenzie can go alone in the ruck.
Yeah, well, I think the other thing is that they're just not getting, when Anarchis goes forward like he's at the moment, they've got no one to get the ball at the bottom of the pack either.
So the kick goes Blackburn's way. Hammond drops it as soon as he's tackled. The umpire says play on as the pack jump on it. Hammond was first to get at top of the ball, but he's at the bottom of the sandwich. And it'll be a ball up 60 metres from goal. You can see Mackenzie just sucking it in big time with his hands on his knees. He just gets up in time and stretches his body out before the ball up. Holds his ground, wins the tap as the other ruckman just jumped too early. Again, the ground level ball is a hard contest. Tackle flies in and Turner holds ground on the wing. So Blackburn just losing a bit of ground there. Doncaster try to win the tap out of Mackenzie's hands, but they're not roving off him too effectually. There was Lawler, and closer line he gets it towards Reed, but he's over and out just forward of centre wing. As this is a game of inches, it's really just a contest of strength for the moment. And it's going to test all characters around it. Getting to the front position, there was Watkins.
This just shows you no amount of practice games can replace the hardness of a home and away game.
Compton wins a free kick over the shoulder, gets it off to the runner, and Ma loads up a kick close to the boundary line. Bit of a wobbler, but it suited his teammate, who took a chest mark 40 metres out boundary side, as Hammond was the potentially the leading wins option. A free kick over the shoulder, gets it off to the runner. Of the teammate there in Danaher, who went forward of the contest and took a mark 40 metres out.
That was Lux of fortune there. That kick just dropped, Donkey dropped, and he just happened to be in the right place at the right time.
So Danaher is a left footer. He's going to have to go the width of the ground. It's going to take a tough kick. He has beautifully kicked it. The goal umpire didn't move. He just steadied himself as the ball floated over his head. And Danaher puts goal number 5 on the board for Blackburn. 5-4, 34, 3-goal lead to the Burners. Halfway through the second quarter, Doncaster 2-4, 16.
Look, I just think structurally they're being hurt at the moment with Doncaster not having enough people helping out their stars. So Anarka's got to go back in the middle again. They're just not getting enough people getting their hands on the football to get the ball out and getting into their forward line quickly enough. And he's got to go in there and he's going to get roughed up again.
It's robbing Peter to pay Paul, isn't it? Of course, with Mackenzie in the ruck there, he's sucking in the breath. Clearly, he's struggling. They don't have a second ruckman out there, and he's been resting deep forward, but they need him deep forward, like a tall target up there permanently.
And here's Mackenzie with the footy now. Tried to get a hand pass out. No progress made by anyone, and Willen ends up with a footy, but will end up with a ball up.
And I think with all these new players in Doncaster, especially some of the young guys, just a little bit of lack of experience as well.
Well, Watkins has gone into the ruck now for Blackburn with Banks off the ground thanks to that yellow card. Here comes the kick now into the direction of Conway. Almost took a pretty good grab on the bounce, and he gets a bit of a shove, loses the footy in the contest. It's a hand pass over the top there from Lawler. He finds his teammate now here in Xavier Murphy, kicks in towards full forward. It's a one-on-one. Mackenzie, Dorian there couldn't take the mark. Loose footy. And a hand pass, looking there for Malloy. Dorian turns around, fires one in towards the goal square, and it's rushed over the line by Rambaldi. Good work there from Dorian. He's had quite the game so far. And just the minor score there for Blackburn. 5-5-35. They lead Doncaster 2-4-16. 17 minutes gone.
Just a classic on there. Conway fumble. Ball gets turned over.
Here goes Anarchis through the middle of the ground. It's a flood going forward now as the runners go with the flow to the ball. It's just an elusive bounce for Coman, so he has to beat 2 off before he hand passes forward. Now Kalange has got it. He's been wrapped up in a tackle. Watkins will call for ball, but the umpire will say, give it to me. It's held into the contest. And it was the long kick out from Rambaldi. He didn't waste time. He was lucky that it fell to Anarchis at the back of the square. His kick suited Coman until the bounce of the ball just went sideways. Coman doing the ruck at ground level. Again, it's kicked out of defence by Gray. He gets it to half-back. Danaher picks it up, kicked the last goal. He gets the hand pass towards Lawler, who leaves it behind when he bent over it. Just knew there was some attention around the corner, that being Mackenzie. Mackenzie pushes Lawler off and says, I was there.
And he's one guy that has to lift. Nick Coman, hardly been in the game. Now they've got him at full forward. He can play in the ruck as well, so they're going to need him this afternoon.
Again, Mackenzie wins the tap. Ground level, Doncaster do get a quick kick, but it doesn't go inside 50. 50. So Blackburn repel temporarily. Schimmelbusch's kick is nearly marked by Mackenzie, but being 2 metres away from the kicker, he wasn't going to mark that one, and it's bounced off his chest out of bounds.
I think Coleman's got to go to the ruck to give Mackenzie a rest.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Has to happen. He can't afford to be doing it like...
Lumachese, if that was seen, he'd be sent off. It was a shy of a punch, and if it connected, he would have seen daylight. Wouldn't have seen daylight for a while.
Seen yellow lights,
yeah, so they're having a laugh about it now's Luke Parker, but if the punch wasn't pulled, he would have been knocked out.
So, 18 and a half gone here, second quarter approaching time on, and in comes the tap there from Mackenzie, trying to find his teammate. That was a kick there from Murphy, ends up with Fogarty. Quick hands, finds Donacas, snap around the ball, into towards the goal scare. Four players contesting. It's touched over the line. Would have been the goal of the day there from Donacas, but Nathan Hammond's hand being the difference between the 1 point and the 6. 5-5-35, Doncaster 2-5-17.
What's your opinion, boys?
Well,
we're at a good line on that. That's a goal, in my
That's Dave
opinion.
Parker behind the goals, isn't it? He knows his stuff.
Yep.
Oh, no, it's not Dave Parker's up the other end, but
I reckon that
it
was
looked
close.
like a goal to me.
It was close.
So the kick back the other way to the half-forward line. And on the attack now, here are the Burners. Lawler has the footy. His hand pass over the top, finds his teammate there in grey. He loses the footy and ends up back with the Sharks. They kick out towards, they were looking for the direction of Mackenzie, went over his head. Anarchis tried to get a handball out. Mackenzie wrapped up there by Murphy, and we'll have a ball up on the centre wing here, broadcast side.
Normally you have the luxury, Brett, of being able to rest your ruckman off the boundary line, but Coleman has to play forward, and he'll have to swap with Mackenzie to give him a break, and that's how they're going to have to play it all day.
Now we've got a free kick here going the way of the Burners, I think, for a high tackle. No, it's going the Ice Sharks, excuse me.
He's had a good game, Fogarty. He's been in and under.
And Fogarty's short kick, and just into the waiting hands there of Saville on the centre wing area, so that's Alessi. He took the mark there in front of Watkins. His kick now in towards half forward. A one-on-one contest. Lumachese going back with the flight. Kalanja's in there as well for the Sharks, and the ball ends up under a scrum. We'll have a ball up.
Now I agree with tagging, but I just watched then Anarchis, and they had someone that basically pushed him to the boundary line, 30 metres off the ball. I just kept pushing him to the boundary line. Well, that's got to be a free kick.
And there's Anarchis there, puts one straight up and under.
It's got to be play on.
And well, punched down eventually there by Young. And a hand pass out there by Hart. He finds his teammate there in Socho. Did well to get the kick away after he's being tackled by two Sharks players. And away comes Bathy. His kick now up towards full forward. And well, did well. There did Rambaldi. But it comes straight now here to Thorpe. And well, another great effort there. I believe that player was Schimmelbusch. And he gets the smother off the boot, and it goes out over the boundary line.
It's an interesting point you made, Davo, earlier about Doncaster turning it over at half forward, or Blackburn getting possession at half back and just being able to transition so well up forward. This is another case of that.
Yeah.
It's Mackenzie wins the tap out. Ground level, Sochio's kick was Scrubber as he was taken off the ball with a tackle, so it's been marked in defence by Doncaster. They'll transition through the middle of the ground, getting underneath it. There was Turner. He lost the flight of it a bit, so it allows Blackburn with the numbers just to get it on board to Thorpe. Thorpe hands it into the corridor, hoping to get the runner going. But it was too fierce, and it's a turnover for Doncaster. On the outer side now, Hall's got it. He drives it to centre forward. Did he really look? But coming in late was Coleman. It falls to Kalanj from 55. Loads up all the way. It's a goal. It's a turnover for Doncaster. Big goal from Kalanj. If Lumachese was there for the mark on the goal line, but a big goal from Doncaster, and there's a man on the ground for Blackburn at 5-5-35. 2-goal lead for Blackburn. Big goal by Kalanj, and we might get an injury report as well.
Actually, they needed that goal, Doncaster.
And they needed the goal in the way. That's what Coleman needs to do. I mean, I don't like to see another player hurt, but there was a legitimate one-on-one contest where he's got the bulk, he hit it at speed, and he crashed a small pack, and they got the transference from it. So he's got to do that.
Yeah, Doncaster on the outer side now. Hall's got it. He drives.
Yeah, it's Michael Dunn. He looks like he's up on his feet now at the moment. He's walking off. And Banks is just inquiring whether he can go back on. So Adam Banks is warming up to go back on the ground, and Dunn looks like he's going to take his place, but I wouldn't be surprised if he came straight off just to assess his head.
So the ruck one down now here by the Sharks, and in comes Anarchis, shakes one tackle, puts it straight high up and under. Murphy's sitting under it, and he takes the mark, gets dumped after it there by Tout, but the mark paid. And he'll go back inside his own 50 and look for an outlet. 23 minutes played now here in the second term here at Moreton Park, and this one swung out wide and into the waiting hands here of Jordan Hart. He swings around and puts a kick up to a vacant centre wing area. In pursuit there is Hammond. Did well to take that on the mount and takes a bounce of it himself. In pursuit there is Rambaldi. Hammond's kick in towards the car park and out on the full.
That's where it went. Went to the car park.
Yeah. And I'm glad I'm not parked over there as I didn't renew my insurance in time. 23 minutes gone. And let's go down boundary side of Brett Bested.
Boys, just a bit worried about the conditions down here. It's not really favouring either side because it is blowing across. We're getting a bit more wind down here. It's quite gusty, but it sort of gets up quite strongly. But as I say, coming really straight across the ground.
Thanks, Bet, as Monks there won the footy. Comes out now here to Hart. His handball to Danaher. Kicked around the body. A loose footy, and it's gathered in here by the Burners. A hand pass over the top. Good tackle applied by Fogarty. It's taken here by Bathy. Tried to shake one too many. And holding the ball says the umpire, Schimmelbusch applied the tackle.
Had to be pinged there, didn't take the first option.
As the kick now in the direction of Hall, going back with the flight of the footy. Here's Murphy for Blackburn, got bumped off it. And a turnaround kick there from Young, up towards half forward, and a good one. And finds Gray. His hand pass now here to Bathy. He goes over the top now onto his teammate Lawler. Takes a shot and centres the footy instead. And Hammond with a great mark. Dead in front. And he'll go back from about 20 metres out. And his hand pass now here to Blackburn's total. He goes over the top
Murphy,
now onto his teammate Lawler.
I reckon we've got to give Murphy credit here because even he took the tackle but was able to still shield the ball for a Blackburn runner to come from behind and pick the ball up and create an opportunity for his further down the field for his teammates.
Yeah, I thought Alessi and Turner here were pretty poor. They were running with the contest. They didn't bother to look after each other. A turnover, and as we said before, transition down the ground pretty quickly.
As Hammond has put it straight through, well, nearly straight through, nearly to the other side. That's his second of the afternoon. It's Blackburn 6, 6-5-41. They lead Doncaster 3-5-23. 25 minutes gone in the second term.
Well, that hurts in the shadows of half-time, doesn't it? Doncaster got that goal back just before, and it just broke the momentum, but can swing back at any time.
And Murphy, I feel, has had a really good game off the half-back and wing. He hasn't done too much wrong. He's provided great run.
He was lucky Tout was the one who could have cleaned him up. If it was a Narcus, he probably would have gone through him the way he's feeling about the attention Murphy's given him all day. But in the middle of the ground, Doncaster couldn't get a clearing kick out of the stoppage. So it just goes to centre forward, whereas the contest, the Narcus is in there. Has to be the tackler. It flies out towards Socio. Or the back of the pack, it's Hart. Hart from the back of the square.
He's been
gets
busy.
It in the middle.
Yeah, good off the half.
And they're going to have some runners here. Cotton's in the middle of the chain. He gets onto the left boot. His kick was hurried. The defender got in good position for Doncaster and they repel the attack quickly, go through to centre back to centre forward. Eludes Anarchis on the bounce. Picked up on the run there by the Blackburn player who's harassed off the ball. There now, Anarchis just gets onto a running hand pass, and there Lumachisi couldn't pick it up as he sort of had to smother it in the goal square off his hands. Blackburn conceded behind, so it's a 17-point game. Blackburn 41, lead Doncaster 24.
That's surprising from Anarchis. I thought he should have been able to have a shot from there.
Hood's kick out of the back pocket towards centre wing, and that's the no siren, so we had the cowbell instead. And that does it for the first half of footy here at Moreton Park. 6-5-41, Blackburn leading Doncaster 3-6-24.
Well, and very entertaining first half for the first game of the 2018 season. Yep, a really good start for Blackburn. They're in front by 17 points going into the main break. We're going to take a break now, and when we come back, we're going to dissect the first half. But keep your dial here on Radio Eastern 98.1. It's the big Good Friday clash between Blackburn and Doncaster.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Mum for everything she's done.
My brother's been having a pretty rough time. I'd like to reassure him that it'll be okay.
I'm sorry that it ended up badly and we didn't remain friends.
I was pretty tough on my brother when he was younger, and I'd like to apologise to you now, mate.
It's never too late to apologise, forgive, or say something you've always wanted to say to someone. So reach out and tell a loved one what they mean to you. Visit tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Program sponsor.
Never miss out on the latest information on the Eastern Football League through the league's social media channels. Live updates, information and scores through the league's Twitter account. The latest news and views on Facebook. Don't miss EFL Game Day or the Match Footage Hub on YouTube. And all those happy snaps on the league's Instagram account. Simply search Footy EFL. EFL.org.au is the place to be online for all the latest on the Eastern Football League. Keep up to date by checking out the latest news and feature articles. Have your say in the EFL poll. Check out all the latest EFL videos, and best of all, you can listen back to any EFL radio program at any time. Head to efl.org.au. The Eastern Football League. Local footy at its best.
Something nice that I have done for someone, I have bought a meal for a homeless person.
I always offer to pick people up from the airport.
I went out with a friend last night. Just being there and listening to what she was going through, I think made all the difference.
I'll write like a little note and put it in the mail. Might just be like, hi, I'm thinking of you.
I took my girlfriend to dinner last week. That's pretty notable for me.
At Tobin Brothers Funerals, they know that every life is unique, and they think that every celebration should be too. Find out more at tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Program sponsor.
Never miss out on the latest information on the Eastern Football League through the league's social media channels. Live updates, information and scores through the league's Twitter account.
EFL Saturday Game Day continues. Let's head back and go local for your footy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's half-time here at Moreton Park, and it's Blackburn with a 17-point lead. It's Blackburn 6 goals, 5-41, leading Doncaster 3 goals, 6-24. Goal kickers for Blackburn, 2 each to Hammond and Ryan Bathy, and singles to Hood and Danaher. Whilst for Doncaster, all single goal kickers, Kalange, Lumasisi and McKenzie. And gentlemen, an interesting first half. Normally we find that one side gets out to a big start and the other side seems to come home. But this has been a really tough, grinding encounter, Davo. And at the moment, Blackburn just seem to have all the answers.
Yeah, look, I think they've just been able to... They've won the ground ball a little bit better than Doncaster. They've been able to spread a little bit easier, move the ball into their forward line a little bit quicker, and therefore have been able to capitalise on their opportunities. Doncaster got their way back into it. But look, they just probably, they turned the football over on their half-forward line way too easily. Not enough forward line pressure, and that's where allowed Blackburn to get it out. So I think the scoreboard's a fair reflection of the game at the moment. I think Blackburn have been the better side on the day. Doncaster, they just need to get more out of a number of their players. They're just not getting enough out of their smalls. I think they've got to change up. Coleman's got to play forward or go ruck. McKenzie's then got to make that change and go do the same. And then, you know, I don't know whether Lumachese's the option up there. He's a little bit slow. You might need some quicker players up there. It's hard to know, but that's what I'd be doing if I was Doncaster.
We're talking, and I think I'm going to lead you into this. What we're seeing here is so far is a lack of a key forward here for Doncaster. I know it's early in the season, but they need to rectify that problem pretty quickly, because they don't want to be conceding height all the time.
It's the difference between the two sides, isn't it? You look at Blackburn's forward line and they've got plenty of height up there.
Yep.
Where you go to Doncaster's forward line, they've got nothing to kick to at centre half forward. And I was saying to Davo before, that's where Greg Jarvis today would have been useful. That means he can change in the ruck with McKenzie and vice versa. But unfortunately, I think Doncaster, they run the risk of being overrun here in the second half. McKenzie's absolutely sucking in the breaths in the ruck because he's got to do the lot by himself. Coleman, as you say, Davo, simply must swap with him at certain times to be able to give him a bit of a chop out and a bit more fresh legs in the engine room there, because it's going to be dire if they don't change things up here.
Davo, one of the things we also noticed that when when Chris Anarkis goes down the ball and has to become a forward option, it robs them of any drive out of the midfield. And this is another area that Doncaster really need to start knuckling down on, is because they'll probably need more from blokes like Monks and Kalange. Right, they're going to have to pick up the slack somewhere along the line, aren't they?
Oh, without a doubt. And look, that's probably what I think their back half's held up pretty well. I think Doncaster, they've got their one-on-ones worked out pretty well. I think they've tried to clear the ball out of defence well. But their mids are just, and across the wings, Tout hasn't given them enough. We talked before, Alessi probably hasn't done enough. Fogarty hasn't done enough. Those boys have got to stand up and give them a little bit more this quarter.
Do you reckon they're missing Daniel Cooper out there?
Oh, there's no doubt that they are.
They have to be.
He
adds speed.
Speed, but he's got that strength.
Well, he plays tall.
Yeah.
And he can take a grab. It's a really important thing in this league, because Daniel Cooper was one of those guys that used to use his body very well to edge that opponent under the ball as it was coming into the forward line and take a good grab. One of the other things, we've talked about Doncaster, but let's spend a little bit of time with Blackburn. It seemed they've got options. Ryan Bathy once again back into the side, 2 goals. Jake Hammond, 2 goals. They've got Watkins down there. They've got 3 quality blokes. They're going to stretch a lot of back lines this year. But they've also got some really good run. I thought Murphy was really good in the first half. I think Paddy Lawler, when he understands the running patterns that Brendan Allen wants, we'll probably see him come off a half-back line playing that sweeper, being able to come through. There's a lot of real positive signs here for Blackburn.
Oh, without doubt. And what I really like about them is that they've included a bit of youth into their group who have also got a fair amount of run. Really liked Hart off the half-back flank.
Yeah, under 19 boy.
And he's got that left foot. It's not that ranging left foot, but it's really accurate. He's hit his targets repeatedly. But their run has been very, very good, Blackburn. I think they're going to be a very good side on a much bigger ground. I think they're
wide expanses of Bayswater.
They are really going to enjoy that, whereas here it's a little bit harder to switch and move. But I think a bigger ground, they're really going to enjoy that, because they've got the height, they've got the run, they've got the fitness.
I'm hearing from Matt Fodia on the boundary that Michael Dunn, who went off in that second quarter, they're assessing his left shoulder.
Okay.
And so they could potentially be one man down, Blackburn, in the second half. And we've got to remember as well, his right shoulder's already strapped as well. So
that'll be disappointing for Blackburn if that would be the case. When we were talking through the telecast, I mentioned the fact that you can have as many practice games as you like and have as many quarters just to run miles into your legs, but it just doesn't substitute for a home and away clash when it's fair income for points, does it?
Oh, and you had a look at that in that second quarter. There was probably 7 or 8 minutes of football where the ball didn't go anywhere. But there was probably 30 to 40 tackles laid in that area. It was really tough.
Another player I thought in this second quarter probably didn't have a lot of touches, but he seems to be able to conjure something out of nothing, and it was Julian Socio, a very important player until he went overseas last year, Davo. He probably was leading their best and fairest when he left. He's been very, very efficient with his ball skills this afternoon.
I really like him as a player. I agree. I think we probably saw him 3 times early in the year last year. We had quite a few Blackburn games early, and I was super impressed. He seems to have thinned down a little bit. He's a little bit lighter than he was last year. He's a very smart footballer. He seems to have a lot of time. He uses the ball well. He's not the key midfielder in there now. They've got a number of really good players in that midfield. He's that second and third midfielder. They can get the ball out to him. And he's a key transition player for them. So, very impressed with him. He's been good today. And he's just seems to be running himself further and further into the game as it goes along.
Another player that's had the benefit of an AFL pre-season, kicked over 70 goals for Blackburn last year, was Jake Hammond. He started the season well again with 2 goals. He seems to have he seems to have built a bit of a tank on him because of his pre-season. Where do we see Jake Hammond playing his best football? Do we see him playing his best football, running around and trying to take advantage of an elderly centre half back, or is he that stay and put centre half forward, full forward, that with a little bit of proper delivery into the forward line can get a 5 metre break and take a grab on the lead?
I would imagine that if Blackburn had another tall, he would be the best half forward in the competition because of his ability to use the run, use the carry, and his overhead marking's exceptional. He's got a beautiful left foot when he gets going. If you can let him run and give him control of that forward line, he can then go behind the contest a number of times and just run his player off their legs. If he gets stuck in a key position, might not get the best out of him, might be able to not use the ability that he's got for his running, because at the moment, especially early on, his ability to run up the ground, turn it around, bring it down to the contest and then get back down for either the second or third kick, I thought was exceptional.
He brings a lot of X factor, doesn't he? And that's where he's great, when he can play in a number of different positions. But one of the things I was saying to you, Davo, off air, that and Brash has touched on it before, that he does stand out on a day like today, the opening game of the season, because he has done that 8-week pre-season with North Melbourne. So he's ahead condition-wise and fitness-wise as well. So he's run the game out, no doubt, and better than possibly most of the other guys on the field.
And I think too, with those, and I think with Jake also too, it's not only the training, but it's also the knowledge that he's gained, because he would have been speaking to dietitians, obviously psychologists, right? And they would have been into him and saying, listen, you want to play at this high level, this is what you got to do, that's what you got to do. And obviously Jake hasn't he didn't go forward with it, but it's the knowledge that he brings back, that he can bring to his own personal self, that can really benefit not only himself but the Blackburn Football Club. One other player that I'd like to touch on, which I mentioned during the call, is Elliot Hartwick. Now, he's crossed from the Essendon District Football League from Essendon Doodle Stars. Now, the Essendon, the top sides are very good. In the way that they play their style of football. Some of the lower sides where he came from, Doodle Stars finished midfield last year, very much still man-to-man football, Essendon District Football League. He's been caught out a few times in that last line of defence. Just his thinking, it's a little bit different playing in the EFL when it comes to playing. You've got to be quick with your disposal, otherwise they're onto you real quick, aren't they?
They are, but I thought he got better in the second quarter. He didn't get caught out. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. Again, I think Doncaster improved and didn't allow Blackburn to run as free to bring the ball in as quickly, which is where he gets caught out a little bit, the young boy Hartwick. But I do like him. He's got a beautiful kick. He's got a nice build. But again, he might get caught out on a big ground. But if we go back to Hammond, the one thing I've noticed about Hammond is that, not that he was ever a heavy player, no, but I would call him a heavy-legged player. Whereas now, he looks like if we talk about a classic wingman shape, that's what he's got at the moment, yet he's a key forward. And I think he could take the competition apart this year.
He could.
If he gets into the right flow and they play the game around him, and the team structure is done properly. The problem they've got is they're going to play 9 games here, and I don't think this is a ground for him unless they push everyone up the ground and give him the opportunity to run back into space, not lead out, but run back into the space at the top. And a little bit that way.
and an oval like Vermont's not going to do him any favours either.
No. So, that's where I see. But I think the first 10 minutes of this quarter is going to give us a little bit of a tale to see how are Doncaster going to regroup, how are they going to get their smalls back into the game, what's their structure going to be like. If they can kick a couple early, then we're back into a ball game.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, that's half-time done and dusted. Both sides back onto the ground. We're just going to take a few sponsors' commitments, but stay tuned on Radio Eastern 98.1. It's the big clash, the big second half coming up. It's Blackburn versus Doncaster, live on Radio Eastern 98.1.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Mum for everything she's done.
My brother's been having a pretty rough time. I'd like to reassure him that it'll be okay.
I'm sorry that it ended up badly and we didn't remain friends.
I was pretty tough on my brother when he was younger, and I would like to apologise to you now, mate.
It's never too late to apologise, forgive, or say something you've always wanted to say to someone. So reach out and tell a loved one what they mean to you. Visit tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Program sponsor.
Nothing better than a companion to keep you up to date with all the latest when you're at the footy. Better still, one that fits in your back pocket. The Eastern Footballer is a must-read. All the latest information, team lists, feature articles and much, much more. Pick up your copy this weekend as you love it local across the Eastern Football League. Never miss out on the latest information on the Eastern Football League through the league's social media channels. Live updates, information and scores through the league's Twitter account.
I'd love to make more time for my loved ones because they really deserve as much help as I can give them.
Because they mean the world to me.
Because eventually they won't be around anymore.
Because I don't want to miss out on watching my brothers grow.
To show them that I value them.
I don't want to regret later on just being too busy.
Apparently a very common regret is that people feel like they didn't make enough time for loved ones.
Tell those you love what they mean to you. Visit tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Program sponsor.
The EFL is all you love about football. Standing in the outer with your mates, kick to kick on the ground with the kids, always a family-friendly atmosphere. Don't miss a moment every weekend across the eastern suburbs. The Eastern Football League is local footy at its best. For more information, jump onto efl.org.au or search Footy EFL on Facebook or Twitter.
EFL Saturday Game Day continues. Let's head back and go local for your footy.
Welcome back to the second half here of the big Good Friday clash, the big Easter weekend here in Melbourne. Also a really important day for the Children's Hospital. Donate as much money as you can to make sure that our hospital stays one of the best children's hospital in the world. But here at Moreton Park, it's Blackburn with a very handy 17-point lead going into the start of the third quarter. Blackburn 6-5-41, leading Doncaster 3-goals, 6-24. We hand it over to our play callers, Gav Casey and Steve White. Take it away, boys.
It's interesting to see Adam Banks back in the middle, waiting for the first bounce of the third term. So he's enabled to play once again. As Doncaster slow to come out, second to come out, and then slow to get in position. As we have a 17-point lead for Blackburn. 6-5-41 to 3-6-24. Ball up in the middle of Moreton Park. McKenzie wins the tap down at ground level. No clear to win until Hart just rips it out of the centre and takes it long. Good punch in by Hardwick. And he concedes the throw in 50 metres in his own defence.
Let's go down boundary side to Brett Beston.
Yeah, thanks, boys. I was just chatting to Brendan Allen. He tells me that Dunn is done for the day, as we mentioned before, and Parker is also under a bit of a cloud. He's being assessed at the moment, but he might not be back, so we'll keep you posted on that one. His message is basically just to grind it out. He's pretty confident that things are going to open up as the game goes on, and just really to stay in the contest and, as I say, grind it out.
Thanks, Brett, as Conway goes in and lays a tackle there on Xavier Murphy, and we'll get a ball up on centre wing. Far side of the ground. Just to start this third term here, 6-5-41 Blackburn leading Doncaster 3-6-24. You're listening on 98.1 Eastern FM as McKenzie wins the tap down. Compton wins the footy and hands it off. Now, as a kick comes into it, centre half forward, going back with the flight there was Rambaldi. He read it well, and he steers a short pass in, finds Hall right on the 50-metre line. And he starts out now here for the Sharks. His kick up towards centre wing. Plenty of players in there. One of them flying there was Monks. Couldn't take the mark. Ball on the ground. And a strong tackle applied there by Jordan Hart as Fogarty ends up with the footy. And we'll have a ball up just outside the centre square. So nice pace to start this third term. Flying into the ruck there is Banks, and winning the footy there is Anarkas. Got foot to football. His kick goes, just dribbles almost over the boundary line. Murphy couldn't keep it in. It's kept in there by Tout. Snap around the body in towards the goal square, and just touched over the line there by Tyler Faulkner for the Miners score. And just the one addition there to Doncaster's scoreline. It's 6-5-41. They lead Doncaster 3-7-25. Just under 2 minutes gone, third quarter.
Quick kick out, Blackburn, keep hold of the ball, go for the middle, Anarkas read it well, chopped it off, brought it to ground at centre forward. Can he keep it in his team's hands? Mackenzie has to help out with the big tackle as he takes his opponent to the ground, and will go boundary side for comment at centre forward for Doncaster.
Boys, the Doncaster message was pretty simple at half-time. They just want more attack on the footy, up the work rate and get a better transition going.
Thanks to Brett Beston as Doncaster through Fogarty, just a high up and under, gets it 30 metres out. The Flyers go for it at ground level. Doncaster have still got it in hand. The hand pass missed the intended target. Anarkas back at the first contest, picks it off, goes long to the goal square. 1-3-3. Liam Achese holds his ground. Ground level, it's been picked up nicely by Turner, I think, from the pocket.
31.
It's back at the first contest, picks it
Jake
off,
Hall,
goes long to the goal square. So we were all around it. Hall from the pocket on the acute angle, just pops it on the boot through the middle of the goal. Great start to Doncaster. 3 minutes into this third term. Doncaster 4-7-31, only trail by 10. Blackburn is 6-5-41.
Yeah, an important goal there for Doncaster. I thought that they needed to score first in the second half just to reduce the gap and give them a little bit of self-belief.
And better at the forward line then. They scouted much better then. It's good work from Hall.
As Anarkas wins the clearance out, kicks in towards the half-forward line. Marked, not taken there by Van der Haar. Ball loose on the deck, picked up by Tout. Short pass in, and he finds Kalange on the lead. And he's going to go back through about 25 metres out, almost directly in front. Half-forward line, marked, to add to not taken there by Van der Haar.
The common factor in Doncaster's opening forays into the forward line is number 5. He's just come out after half-time and started to impose himself from the midfield.
So Jake Kalange, 31 goals last year in his first outing with Doncaster after coming across from Coburg in the Northern Footy League. He lines up. And he's skewed it to the
He's missed a couple of
just a minor score.
He's missed a couple of gilt-edged opportunities this afternoon, Jake Kalange.
They're the ones that really hurt, those ones. That 2 goals in 2 minutes would have really set them up.
You can see on the stream of EFL.org.au that it hit flush on the right post, but Doncaster might win it from the long kick out at ground level. Taking on all tacklers was the Doncaster player in Liam Achese, who was out of his depth that far up the ground, and he's been pulled down in the tackle by Reid. Reid gets the free kick for holding the ball. So he looks he's on the centre of the ground. He goes out wide first because that's the only open player he has. Now the kick goes to Lawler, who has got time just to settle, prop, and take the mark in front of his opponent in Monks. So Lawler goes close to the boundary line to Hammond. He's always a good option because he makes you look good when he skirts around on the left, puts the driving ball towards Baffy. Ground level, tackle flies in on Socio. He quickly gets the kick out of the pack, but the pack then charge onto the ball, and it's a contest 50 metres in defence where Anarkas picks it up. He can't ride the bumps and get out of the tackle, and it'll be a ball up just outside of the forward 50 for Blackburn. So the umpire just counting the players and nominating the rucks. There's a big amount of numbers around the ball as Mackenzie again wins the tap, but as Blackburners shark it, and they just drive it long to about 30 out. No mark could be taken under a huge pack. Defence under a heap of pressure. Schimmelbusch puts it on the boot, and all those numbers around him smother the ball out of bounds in the back pocket.
I don't think we've given Schimmelbusch enough credit today. He's been sensational time and again. It just seems the older he gets, he hasn't slowed down at all. He's been so reliable for Doncaster for a long time.
So respected around the competition with his nominations for Team of the Year. So he's a great stalwart of the competition, and he drives the ball, picks it up, puts it on the boot, but he didn't look, and it's been chopped off. Running onto it is the player in Blackburn. I think that's Ma.
38, no.
Ma, who just drives it into goal, but he misses the right for a minor score. Blackburn 6-6-42, restore a 10-point lead 6 minutes into this third term.
He didn't need to play on that. He could have taken that mark, gone back, and had quite an easy shot at goal.
So Hartwig to bring the footy back into play here for Doncaster. He goes out. Target initially was Hall, but a mark taken there by his teammate Rambaldi right on the 50, near side of the ground, broadcast side. He's looking for options upfield. Not much on offer. Decides to go in short. And the mark taken there by Van der Haar, sporting the mullet of his very Essendon great father.
If we could call him the Flying Dutchman, I'll be wrapped, because I want to see him take a specky like his dad.
So his kick goes in short and finds his teammate there in Turner. He's looking for options upfield as well, just plays it in short. And the kick now taken here by Saville. He pumps a long one in towards the forward line. Plenty of players there, but a strong mark taken there by Hammond of the Nathan variety. He gets a handball out now here to his numerical one superior Murphy. He gets a handball up now here to Faulkner, takes a bounce and kicks it right now in towards the half forward line. Hartwig out-muscled in the contest, but running back now here is Saville, who's covered about 50 metres just in that last 10 seconds. The ball kept alive here by Bathy. Hartwig charges in, gets tackled, manages to get the ball out. And it's gone over the boundary line. Boundary throw.
No, was tackled over the top when he...
Oh, that's right. Gone out, it's gone up high. So Hartwig's run himself a free kick just in the back pocket. Centres the footy. And just trying to slow things down now. Here are the Sharks as they swing it out wide now into the half-back flank. And the mark taken there by Turner. And he decides to go straight back to where it came from. Here's Malloy now, right off the centre half back. He kicks into towards centre half forward in the centre square. Couldn't take what he should have. Here's Murphy doing the roving. Got a quick hand pass out over the top. Back to it. Now here is Lawler. Lawler's kick out wide. Finds his teammate there in Socio. He goes by hand. And away come the Burners in the direction now here of Dorian. But a mark, strong mark taken to the back there by Turner, who's had quite a few touches in the last couple of minutes. He centres the footy now here for Saville, almost tripped over his own boots, swings it out now wide to centre wing, and looking there for the mark was Kalange. The ball traverses the boundary line, will have a boundary throw.
That was well done there by Mitch Thorpe. Had made up metres there, turned a potential 2-on-1 to a stoppage.
Doncaster are using the ball a lot better at the moment. Their last choice has been the wrong choice each time. That's the only thing.
Yep. Kick out of the wrong ruck contest nearly worked out for Blackburn, but the numbers again are there just to smother it by intent or by accident, and the ball has stopped dead on centre wing, so the umpire will have to, this time the field umpire will have to get involved. So looking at the scoreboard, 8 minutes gone, third term, Blackburn 6-6-42. Lead by 10 points, Doncaster 4-8-32. The errant hand pass doesn't set up Blackburn's charge, and it will see itself out of wing, out of bounds. So we'll have another boundary throw in. Status of the game is Doncaster getting themselves back in it because they've kicked the only goal in this third term, guys. Do you see the momentum going their way as Anarchis gets it out of the pack, drives the ball into the forward line. Nice tap on. Does the kick just nearly flowed in there from Monks, and now it hit the Hall. He kicked the goal in the early term. Luckily it went higher, then it went longer because he was going to kick that way out in the forward to Central Road, but thankfully it stays in, and a marking contest was caused. Boundary throw in after that.
Someone might have heard your appeals for a Van der Haar specky because he nearly took one there near the side of the point post.
Well, I was so unexpected. I was thinking the trees outside the boundary line were going to get ruffled, but it didn't get there as Hall, I don't know if he was trying to torp it or what he was doing, but he rushed the kick high. Now at ground level, Doncaster nearly get it off the boundary throw in, and the tackles fly in, so it's under hands and feet, and it'll be another ball up. Alessi just traps it in over the top of Lumachisi, so you can just imagine it wasn't going anywhere. As we'll go boundary in one moment after this ball up, which is 25 metres around from Doncaster's goal. The tackle flies in. No penalty either way, and it'll be another ball up. We'll just wait again because there's going to be a scoring, maybe potential shot before we go boundary side, guys.
It's like Gray got one up high there. It wasn't seen by the umpire.
So it's a ball up 30 metres out, directly in front of Doncaster's goal. The Rucks go at it. It's a volleyball effort until it falls into the hands of the Sharks. The hand pass is a bit errant. They're rushing themselves now. Now Anarchis close to the boundary line, shrugs off one. Hand passes the teammate. Eventually it goes to Alessi, who loads up from 50 after balking one, puts his long kick out, drives it to the left pocket, and it goes out off hands. So it's a boundary throw in, and time for our boundary riders for comment.
Hey guys, Luke Parker's about to enter the fray again. He's got that right calf fairly heavily strapped, so he might be a bit proppy on that to start, but he's going to come back into it.
I think Doncaster are actually using the ball a lot better. They're moving it around a little bit more. That's that last kick in each time is killing them.
Lumachisi takes it straight off the ruck, pops it right into the goal square. It's a contested footy, and it goes
Not yet.
Now it goes over the line, and we just have the minus score. So that takes it 6-6-42 Blackburn. They lead Doncaster 4-9-33, 11 and a half gone here in this third term.
The one thing that Doncaster have done, they've actually been able to stop the run from Blackburn's half-back line into their forward line.
So here's Reid now with a kick out of the centre square, down towards full forward. One-on-one contest, unable to get it, is picked up now here by Bathy. He gets a quick hand pass out now here to Thorpe on the right, and he's put it straight through. And Blackburn get their seventh. Down towards they move to 7-6-48, leading Doncaster 4-9-33. 12 minutes gone here, third term.
They would be very unhappy with that tranquility because that was a transition through the middle. They had spare players in the middle. That was two pretty weak tackles down here in the defensive area.
He seemed to do it just too easily, Bathy, didn't he? It looked like he was the grade 6 kid playing against the grade 3s, didn't he? There just shrugged it quickly and handball out and certain goal.
And it's the only time that Blackburn have been able to run the ball through the midfield in this third quarter.
And I'm impressed with Thorpe's strength in the contest. Even though he didn't take the mark, he stood up, maintained his feet, and when Baffy did the groundwork, got it back to Thorpe, who just hooked it around the corner for a goal. As this time Anarchis claims the centre clearance, kicks it out wide to the outer side wing, but he's got a teammate there to help him out. So loading up Doncaster from the outer wing. Kick goes in towards Kalange. He drops it towards Anarchis, who just shovels a hand pass into the middle corridor. Didn't look, so it's a Blackburn ball as they go centre forward. Hardwick has been good this time to take the mark on the charge. He goes through the centre. It voids the traffic and goes straight directly to Kalange, who spills the mark on the lead. Now at ground level, Conway's there to help. Can he elude the tacklers? Bounces off a couple. Gives it to Fogarty. Fogarty looks up. He's got open men and he finds one of them 10 metres out, all on his own to take an easy mark, chest mark, and now an easy shot at goal. It should be. Can he elude the tacklers? Bounces off a couple. Gives it to Fogarty. Fogarty 20 metres out. He will close the gap to 9.
They've been in that forward line. The amount of ball that they've dropped leading out has been enormous, Doncaster. But at least they're continuing to put it into those areas each time, which is good.
Monks does make no mistake, and that is his first for the day. He nearly got one early, but Lumachisi took it out of his grasp. It is 7-6-48 Blackburn to Doncaster 5-9-39. 14 minutes gone. Blackburn lead by 9.
They're still in this, Doncaster. I think they've played the better football this quarter, and they've just got to continue to go. And, have they put Anarchis, is he still in the middle? No, he's gone down forward maybe. Or come off for a rest, not sure. But he's been the key catalyst in that middle.
So Mackenzie v Banks in the ruck. The ball won now here by Doncaster. Bursting through was Fogarty with a kick now in towards full forward. Taken on the bounce there by Watkins. His kick now out towards centre wing. And a foot race there ensuing. Winning that battle beautifully there was Marcus Young. He gets a hand pass out now in the front of Hammond. Takes it on the bounce. He's tackled by two players. One of them Whelan. But the footy won back now here by Blackburn. Running into some strong opposition there was Hammond of the Nathan variety. Here's Banks. His kick was smothered off the boot. Picked up now here by beautiful play by Turner. And it comes back now in towards the half-back flank. A vacant half-back flank at that. Almost taken. Danaher got one in the back. Surely, yes, that's going to be a free kick. And
no, he actually got into Kalange's back.
And it comes back now into the half-back. That was Vanderhaar.
A vacant half-back flank at that. Almost taken.
Don't miss that mallet anyway, mate.
It was a great run-down tackle, but he went straight into his back.
So 15 minutes played. Vanderhaar's going to go back for a pop. Boundary side from about 45 out, far side of the ground. Hasn't got one this afternoon so far. Looking for his first. In he comes, the kick.
Nice.
Looks like it's going to go across the face here in towards, and a strong mark. Uncontested, taken there by Hood, and he wins the footy now here for Blackburn. Plays it down the near side. The target there was Murphy. Took a good mark here right on the 50.
Been happy with his game.
And he goes in short and finds Banks, who's come back on the ground after have served his penance for that strike on Mackenzie in the second quarter. His kick now up towards far forward, and a good mark taken there by Hartwig, muscling out Bathy in that contest. Now, the kick was poor right into the man on the mark. Rambaldi cleans up now here for Doncaster, and they try and salvage something of this drive. It's centred in towards Fogarty. He takes it now, centres the footy. Hall unattended there in the centre square. He decides to play on and put one upfield. Hall in the direction of Lumachisi. He's been pushed out, and the free kick given. Lumachisi takes it right on the edge of the centre square. The footy. Hall and unattended there in the centre square. Parker has come back onto the ground now and put one upfield for Blackburn. As this one kicked in towards short, and a mark taken here by Conway, and he's going to go back from about 45 and take a pop now here for Doncaster.
They're willing to go through the middle now for Doncaster, aren't they? They're trying to turn it inside each time, get it down, open up, and they've gone short into the forward line. They've tried not to go with the long kick because it hasn't been working.
I reckon they're running a bit harder too, Davo.
Yep.
So Conway on a slight angle from 45 out. He kicks, and that looks like it is straight through the middle. First of the afternoon for Harry Conway, and he improves his team score. It is 7-6-48 Blackburn, leading Doncaster 6-9-45, 17 minutes played here in the third term.
Well, I said at half-time that Doncaster ran the risk of getting run over the top of in the second half, but they've done exactly the opposite. They've come out and played the better footy, and of course managed to find more options up forward. And on the scoreboard, of course, Blackburn need to hit the scoreboard. They need to hit back. The way this game's gone so far is Doncaster have hit back before Blackburn have sort of wrestled back that momentum. So these next few minutes are going to be crucial.
I just wonder if the high-intensity first half from Blackburn might play against them, as they've conceded 3 goals this term. Anarkis gets his hands to Monks. Monks just loads it up, but he wasn't looking, and he'll drift the ball to the left pocket, and he might be happy with an out of bounds, so Doncaster can reset deep into their forward line. They're running all over it. They're winning the contest, and they're getting it quickly away from these stoppages. So it's a boundary throw in about 5 metres around from the point post left side of the goals for the Sharks. Boundary throw in where Mackenzie tries to use his strength. It goes to the back of the pack. Anarkis quick to put boot onto ball. His ball being picked up off the ground, and quick shot at goal there by Fogarty. Misses to the right.
He's been good in the last 10 minutes, Fogarty. He's really lifted his work rate in his game. He's got under the contest, and yeah, this is a classic Doncaster effort, isn't it? This is what you expect of the way that they play their football. They just never go away.
So they lead by 2 points. The kick out might not suit Blackburn, as their first there was Saville, and at ground level is picked up by Coleman, who just loads up a long kick towards Conway, who kicked the last goal. At ground level, he wasn't the first there, but his teammate gets in there. Was he taken too high in the tackle? Tout is at ground level, but he'll just be throwing it back to the umpire, who'll ball it up 50 metres from Doncaster's goal. They seem to be swarming the ball now, full of confidence. It's showing through their run, and their deliberate passes are hitting the mark, and the smothers are flying in. The ball doesn't progress too far. Blackburn look out on their feet in defence. 20 minutes gone, third term.
Well, they haven't got their hands on the football on the ground lately, and they haven't been able to feed out the back, so that's been the difference.
Mackenzie wins it. He gets it out the back of the pack, hoping for Anarkis to get there. He was beaten to it, but it's still in the same area, and it's now been picked up. Goes to Anarkis. Boundary sign. He's clever. He just surveys all options. Gives it to Alessi. Driving ball. Doesn't hit the target. Now off to the races of Blackburn. Loading up the long ball. McGarnis is having a fight. He's tangled legs with Thorpe. Allows his teammate to come in, and Parker. Parker's going to use Thorpe. Thorpe running an open goal. Uses another teammate. Baffy doesn't want to claim it because he'll be tackled. He taps it under his teammate, but it beats him to the line as just as he was about to soccer it in. And the frustration as Parker sees it drift for a point. It's a 3-point lead for Blackburn. They couldn't get the goal they needed.
I reckon some of the Blackburn faithful would have seen that a little differently.
As a short kick out by Hardwick, almost taken one-handed there by Turner, couldn't drag the footy in, pumping it up now. Here is Malloy, his high up and under, and a contested footy, no one can take the mark. Ball on deck, Touts in there, Lumachisi lays the tackle and wins the ball up right in the centre square.
You saying Baffy should have taken it in hands and had the shot instead of trying to tap it towards a teammate? Yes.
There's some situations you really should do that, and that was one of those, I reckon.
So here comes the ball up as Banks wins the tap down. Mackenzie lays the tackle. We'll have another ball up.
It's called taking ownership.
Yes, you.
I don't know about
that. I'll ask Gavin Brash to touch gloves and go back to their corners.
No, I'm agreeing with him. I just want him to say that I'll load the bullets. He fires.
So here comes the clearing kick out of the centre square. Takes an awkward bounce. The soccer off the booty in towards the direction of Jake Hall. Almost took it off the deck. Did well. Picks it up now and puts one in towards half forward in the direction. Now here a Kalanj who takes a good mark out in front there of Ma, and he'll go back from about 40 out on a 20-degree angle. Did well. Picks it up now and puts one in
the football, Dave. If he had a kick straight, he'd probably be best on the ground at the moment.
He would, and I just think then that Hall actually used the ball really well. He saw that there was plenty of space in front, put it in front of him instead of just popping it up, hoping he'd take an overhead mark.
And he's just come into it a little bit in the second half, Hall.
So Kalanj already got one. That was in the second term for Doncaster. Looking to add to his tally. He lines up from 45 out. It's a decent kick. It's right into the upright.
That's the second time he's hit the post.
Second poster there for Kalanj, and he'll remember both of them, I'm sure, after the game. 7-7-49 Blackburn. They lead Doncaster 6-11-47. 22 minutes gone. The margin just 2 points.
22 minutes gone. Blackburn holding on to their half-time lead. It's a 2-point margin now. The long kick out's a desperate ball, hoping for Blackburn to have the numbers to take it. But again, Doncaster are the first onto the ball this quarter. It just flies out to the back where Mackenzie tries to burst his way through a tackle. This time it's been picked up by Blackburn through Hammond. His kick smothered. And on the outer side, it's a struggle to get the ball into the open. Tackle flies in for Mackenzie onto his smaller opponent. He wraps him up. And it'll be a ball up outer wing of Moreton Park. Let's look at the score. Blackburn 7-7-49. Kicked 1 goal this term. Doncaster 6-11-47. They've kicked 3-5 in this third term. 23 minutes gone. Fogarty gets it on the boot quickly. He rushes the ball forward, but it's the defender in good position to take the mark for Blackburn and slow it up.
So the kick out now here from Lawler is up towards the half-forward flank. Missing that one was Malloy. It falls into the hands now. Good tackle applied there by Malloy. Did well after he missed the initial contest and wins himself a free kick. He puts a short kick now in towards the centre of the ground. Dangerous there. Lessie got collected late.
I felt that.
And did well. And after he missed the initial contest, he won himself a free kick. He puts a short kick now in against the centre of the ground.
But this is what they're doing. They're having a go. They're trying to open up the game.
As Murphy does the flying on this centre wing and forces the ball over the boundary line.
It almost seems like the game's reversed a little bit.
Yeah.
Blackburn were doing exactly what Doncaster were doing in the first half now.
So boundary throw in, dead on centre, far side of the ground, well into time added on, 24 minutes played, the margin 2 points. Mackenzie does the rucking there against Banks. Winning the footy there was Fogarty, his hand pass out, comes in towards Blackburn hands and they're away through the centre. The kick in towards centre half forward, Schimmelbusch there, uncontested, not paid, it was bounced before he took it on the full and will have a ball up.
He thought he was so big he concealed it from the umpire, but he saw it hit the ground.
So ball up, 5 metres inside the 50. Attacking side of the ground now here for Blackburn. And flying early in the contest there was Banks. The ball eludes everyone and comes out towards the centre square. Trying to get a hand pass out there was Alessio. Here's a hand pass now here to Anarchis, centre of the ground. Plenty of time and space. He pumps one in towards a vacant centre square, but he finds Hall.
That was class.
That was class. That was a fantastic
trying to
kick
get a hand
down
pass
there to
out
Hall.
there. And that's why he was last year's 2017 centre of the ground. Plenty of time and space. He pumped. He's already kicked one this term and for the game looking for his second.
He single-handedly has lifted Doncaster back into the contest in this third quarter.
And I think each and every one of us were looking where was he kicking it to, but he knew exactly the right weight.
So in comes Hall. His kick is to the right, and just the minus score there for Doncaster, and they claw back by 1 point. It's 7-7-49, playing Doncaster 6-12-48, 25 minutes gone.
Davo, who was the hand pass? Because Anarchis got it back a square, got it over the one Blackburn player. Who was that player that's got it to him in the middle again?
I think it was Fogarty again.
Fogarty just waited the hand pass to him to run onto the middle, and it's a turnover into the pocket as Van Aert picks it up off the one bounce, and he tries to get out of a spin out of a tackle, but it's only 30 metres from Doncaster's goal as they look to get the 7th. It's been a struggle. They've been all around it recently.
It seems like they're treading water at the moment, Blackburn.
So it's close to the boundary line. It might see its way over. Foot got to the ball accidentally, and Blackburn are thankful for a free kick deep in their defence, as it might have gone off Kalanja's boot as he was trying to pick it up. So Blackburn, Murphy, he'll just go long down the line. He's just playing the percentages where McKenzie plants himself in the way. The Rovers are Blackburn. They'll run through the wing, trying to get it going as Forbes. He looks at his options. Ham passes it to a runner. Now Hammond in good position. Had his arm held. He nearly took it on the chest. Socio picks it up, but planting himself in good position was Libert. His kick has been picked off at centre back. Schimmelbusch uses Malloy. Malloy knew he was under pressure, drops it, but Hardwick, he picks it up and clears it temporarily as the mark's been taken by Gray. And there's the bell. We're only having a bell because no sirens in respect to the church services that we have on Good Friday. So it's Blackburn leading 7-7-49. Only a point the difference at three-quarter time. Doncaster are 6-12-48. You're listening to Radio Eastern 98.1. We've got an exciting fourth quarter coming after these messages.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Mum for everything she's done.
My brother's been having a pretty rough time. I'd like to reassure him that it'll be okay.
I'm sorry that it ended up badly and we didn't remain friends.
I was pretty tough on my brother when he was younger, and I'd like to apologise to you now, mate.
It's never too late to apologise, forgive, or say something you've always wanted to say to someone. So reach out and tell a loved one what they mean to you. Visit tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Program sponsor.
EFL.org.au is the place to be online for all the latest on the Eastern Football League. Keep up to date by checking out the latest news and feature articles. Have your say in the EFL poll. Check out all the latest EFL videos, and best of all, you can listen back to any EFL radio program at any time. Head to EFL.org.au. The Eastern Football League. Local footy at its best. For the best EFL rap on radio, don't miss EFL Sunday. From 10 till 12 every Sunday morning, the EFL media team bring you all the final scores, goal kickers, best players and ladders, following a big round of EFL footy. The gang talk to the biggest names from across the league each and every week. EFL Sunday, from 10 every Sunday morning on 98.1 Radio Eastern.
I'd love to make more time for my loved ones because they really deserve as much help as I can give them.
Because they mean the world to me.
Because eventually they won't be around anymore.
Because I don't want to miss out on watching my brothers grow.
To show them that I value them.
I don't want to regret later on just being too busy.
Apparently a very common regret is that people feel like they didn't make enough time for loved ones.
Tell those you love what they mean to you. Visit tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Program sponsor.
Bigger and better in season 2016, Netball EFL is back. The fastest growing competition in the eastern suburbs continues to expand. Don't miss the fast-paced action every Friday night across multiple venues. For more information or to get involved, head to efl.org.au.
EFL Saturday Game Day continues. Let's head back and go local for your footy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. A 3-goal, 6-1 quarter here to Doncaster sees them back in the contest. It's Blackburn leading by the barest of margins. Blackburn 7-7-49, leading Doncaster 6 goals, 12-48. Goal kickers for Blackburn, 2 each to Hammond and Bathy, singles to Ben Danaher, Mitch Thorpe and Jackson Hood. Whilst for Doncaster, all single goal kickers, Kalanj, Lumachese, Monks, McKenzie, Hall and Conway. And in that quarter, it was a quarter where Chris Anarkis, the Chandler medalist from last year, started to influence the contest, Davo, and he single-handedly has lifted Doncaster back into the contest.
Oh, look, he's the class player on the ground at the moment. But look, they changed the way they played. They went completely, played a different game. They didn't bomb it into their forward line. They kicked short. They went through the middle. They tried to get a little bit greater run, and they tried to hit the leading forward, not put it on top of their heads. So it was a lot better. Unfortunately, we go back and say, they've had a great quarter, but they should be probably 3 goals in front. They've missed far too many very easy shots that they should have, and hope that doesn't come back and hurt them. Blackburn, on the other hand, I thought were poor. They just couldn't get their hands on the football. Their use of the footy was poor. They got out-tackled, they got out-muscled. So they've had a bad quarter and they're still in front. So they can only come back and play a little bit better this quarter. It'll be interesting to see whether Doncaster roll over the top or Blackburn come back and fight.
Dan, it just looked like at times that Blackburn were treading water. They just could get no run out of their back line like they did in the first half.
Yeah, look, I said off air that Doncaster probably couldn't play any better than what they did in that quarter. They certainly owned the quarter, but Blackburn probably, there's so much scope for improvement this quarter based on what they showed us earlier on in the game. Their outside run was stifled, and that was due to the fact that Doncaster were just getting on top in the midfield. First use of the footy and the 50-50 contests as well. They were winning those as well, which they hadn't won previously. So that was one thing that Andrew Tranquilly wanted to combat, and it looks like he's done it that quarter, and the scoreboard reflects that. Having said that, Brash, they should be in front at three-quarter time. They've wasted a few opportunities early on up both ends of the ground, and that last opportunity they had when they found Anarchis in space, when he weighted the kick perfectly to find a target, that should have been an absolute Monty of a goal, and it wasn't, and they're behind on the scoreboard.
One of the things, gentlemen, that Doncaster probably really had control of for most of the afternoon is the stoppages, Dave. They really probably have controlled the stoppages, but probably haven't got enough value for money from it.
Yeah, look, Mackenzie's been outstanding in the ruck. I think he's been one of the best players on the ground. I think he's been excellent what he's done. And Fogarty got back into it that quarter, so they started to get a little bit more, and that's helped them. But Blackburn, they just didn't get any of that outside run. They didn't get their hands on the footy and push it out the back and then push it wide. And even the couple of times they did get the ball clear, their disposal was quite poor going into the forward line as well. So it's amazing what pressure does. It's amazing what tired legs will do. Let's just see whether Blackburn change up what they've been doing, because I think they went a little bit negative at times kicking down the line. They didn't seem to want to come through the middle, or whether they go back to the style that got them in front early on.
Neither side in the first half wanted to take ownership of the corridor, but in the third quarter, Doncaster was the side that seized the initiative, Dan, and they were rewarded. Even though they kicked 3 goals 6, it could have been a lot better for them.
Yeah, certainly, and that's the way you're going to win games of footy.
And especially on a small ground. We'll cross down to Matty Fodia on the boundary line. What have you got for us, Matt?
Hey guys, I'm with our Doncaster coach Andrew Tranquilly. Andrew, what did you say to the boys there? What have you fixed up there between the first half and that third quarter?
We just wanted to...
Probably having a few little issues there. We'll continue on until Matty comes back on. I just think that on a small ground, whoever takes ownership...
Like Hall and Kalange, was that who you need to lift and help out Anarchis?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're not the only two. There's a fifth, as I said before the game. We've got a pretty deep list that we can go through the midfield. So they were two that really tightened up on the outside circle, and now it's here we go again.
Marcus Lessie had the jelly legs. Is he going to get through the last quarter?
He'll be right, mate. He's had a big pre-season.
Good luck.
Thank you, Matty Fodia, there on our boundary rider, one of our boundary riders this afternoon. Just quickly, I'll just finish that neither side wanted to take control of the corridor in the first half. As soon as one side did, which was Doncaster, they benefited from a more direct play. We'll take it down to Brett Besternan on the boundary line. What have you got for us, Brett?
And just from the Doncaster huddle, boys, they just treating this quarter basically as a new game. They're going to start at 0-0. They reckon they want to tough it out. They want to be first to the footy in discipline. And a bit of an interesting point, Chris Anarchis will have Jason Reid for company in this last quarter.
For mine, Blackburn need to take control of the last quarter to win this game. It's back to you, Gav Casey and Steve White. Take us through the last quarter, gents.
Another big matchup is to look at Fogarty with next to him being Gray, because he was waxing beautifully with Anarchis in that third term. It's Banks trying to redeem himself against Mackenzie. Flies over Mackenzie, but the Sharks win the centre corridor. Get it long to Kalange and a one-on-one. Punch by Ma. Conway's there. He's got some heat attached to him in Hood. Hood takes on the tacklers, or he allows his teammate to help him out and create a boundary. Throw up only 30 metres away from Doncaster's goal. They were peppered the sticks late in that third term, but they still trail. Limachese just spoons it towards Anarchis. He just spills himself away from the tackler, but his kick just gets pulled across the face of goal, and it's out of bounds, close to the left point post, so it gives Doncaster the next chance to get a score on the board. They've got all the momentum. They trailed by 17 at half-time. Only a point now at three-quarter time. Anarchis runs onto it. He got pulled off the ball. The umpire said, no, you're faking it. And he allows Blackburn to run out through the mullet. And the mullet will kick along in Dorian. And he gets along to Hammond. And Hammond is happy to see territory made at half-forward over the bounce.
The opposition have been getting into Anarchis at every opportunity today. And he's no doubt frustrated. And that one was
you're faking it. And he allows Blackburn to run out.
He probably overplayed it, but it was there. That was the difference. The difference was he was grabbed around the shoulder and should have been given a free kick.
The umpires may be blindsided, but it was so dramatic, the fall away from Anarchis. He decided against it. Here's Anarchis. He gets tackled without it. He allows his teammate to get it. He's not going to get a free kick, even if he paid the umpire, I reckon. So he's going to have to get it the hard way.
You're on their Christmas list, aren't you? You are on their Christmas list.
Well, I reckon he got robbed on the goal, but I'm not saying that again. So it's a boundary throw in, half back for Doncaster, half forward for Blackburn. Have done well with just holding up in defence, getting it to half forward. But it's the numbers in the contest that Doncaster win it again. Long kick, Conway, big leap over the top, gets two hands to it, but he just spills it as he rides over the pack, and it's a boundary throw in, now half forward for Donny.
He just has not been able to get both hands to it all day, Conway.
No.
He's got good hands, he looks like he's a good build, just hasn't been able to do it today.
So in comes the boundary throw, doing the ruck there is Banks, shoved McKenzie right out of the contest, gives away the free.
I think he tripped over his own legs to push him in the back that time.
So McKenzie about 70 out on the near side of the ground here at Morton Park. Fourth and final term between Blackburn and Doncaster. Good Friday footy here on 98.1 Eastern FM or streaming live across the globe. EFL.org.au. Here comes the kick in towards Lumachese over his head, evaded Parker as well. It's taken up. Oh, what a goal there from James Monks.
Gee, that's goal of the day at the moment.
Goal
James Monks.
of the day there from James Monks. His second of the afternoon.
That's an absolute ripper.
And he puts his team in front with that kick. It is Doncaster 7-12-54, Blackburn 7-7-49. 3 minutes gone here in this fourth term.
You're not going to see too many better goals than that. I mean, we were right on the best viewing spot for that, but he is just a left foot calculated kick that was a mongrel that went straight through the middle.
He didn't get cute. He just put it where he thought was the straight line, and it didn't deviate. So that, for me, is a great goal because it wasn't a curler. It was straight through the most acute of angles.
And he took ownership of the ball too.
So Monk's second puts Doncaster in front. Have Blackburn got the reply? I know they've got the fight in them, but they've got to get the ball forward. This time running onto it is Dorian, who picks it up at half-back, gets his teammate in Banks. Banks hand passes quickly, but maybe too quick for his runners, and it's been turned over in the middle of the ground. Here's Monks again, gets it out wide to McKenzie, who's so wide that he goes around the boundary side to Tout. Tout's got time. He's got Limachese in his sights. Ground level, Kalange picks it up, takes on the tackler, hand passes into the corridor, and Ma picks it up, saviour for Blackburn. Gives it off to his teammate in Parker, who shares it through. That's a tough, good mark there from Watkins, who's done a bit of part-time rucking, and he was under a heap of pressure marking in the corridor. If he dropped it, they were in trouble. But he loads up the kick to half forward. Baffy, one hand to keep it in the area. Second grab, takes the mark at half forward. He's got the play settled, and he kicks a short one, hoping for a mark in the pocket, picked up by the mullet. He runs back into the corridor. He puts himself under a bit of pressure. Baffy picks up the ball, 30 out, boundary. Oh, another ripper! Blackburn back in front, and we are having highlight after highlight. Baffy went wide.
That was
he puts himself under a bit of pressure. Watkins made it harder for himself and pulled around the corner to put Blackburn in front.
I almost felt that Blackburn needed something to sting them back into a bit of action here, because it just looked like it was just meandering along there for a minute there, Davo.
I think the turning point was the tackling pressure down in the Doncaster forward line. They had control. They looked like they were going to run into a goal, turn the football over. Footy went out down deep, and that was a very good snap goal from Watkins.
So 8-7-55, Blackburn now 1 point in front of Doncaster, 7-12-54. 5 minutes played here, final term out at Morton Park, as here we come with the centre restart. Here's McKenzie up against Bank. McKenzie wins the tap down, and Arcus trying to do the roving. Fogarty's in there as well for Doncaster, and the ball not going anywhere except straight back into the umpire's hands for a ball up. Well, we're going to have to dispute the fibro goal of the day between those two guys now, Monks and Watkins. So in comes McKenzie, beaten to it there by Banks, trying to get the footy out. Now here are Blackburn. Danaher leads the tackle and will have ball up number 3.
McKenzie had to go up there.
Blood rule, I think.
Yeah, it looks like he got a whack in the mouth.
So Coleman will have to come across into the ruck, which I think he's done.
Doncaster using this chance to interchange a few players.
So looks at, thanks to our boundary riders, so the cut lip there on McKenzie.
Saville and Tout run off for an interchange, so Doncaster using that time well.
So 6.5 gone here in the final term. And
actually, that was really good, well done there by Doncaster, because technically all they had to do was just allow the injured player off.
Correct.
As the tap comes down, trying to win it there was Compton. It's pumped forward now here by Fogarty in the direction there of Faulkner. It just bounces in front of him and over the boundary line will have a boundary throw in.
No one picked a draw, but this is a big possibility today. Something to be looking forward to. 20 minutes to go.
Someone's raising and changing their tips at the last minute. There's 1 point the difference now. 7 minutes played here, final term. As in to do the rucking there is Kalange. Gives his man a shove and...
Short throw in. Do it again.
Oh, no, okay. Thought there was a free kick there. Kalange did give Parker a bit of a nudge. So take 2 on the boundary throw in. Far side, forward pocket. As in comes the throw, Lumachese's going to do the rucking. He wins the tap down. Ball on the deck, getting the hand pass out. There was Alessi. It comes through. It's come across the face. Just the minus score there for Doncaster. But that does do scores level. Whelan with a shot there from the forward pocket. It is all square. 8-7-55. Plays 7-13-55. 7.5 clicks gone. Final term.
Gav is calling for him to ring the bell. Ring the bell now. We've got the draw. There literally is a bell too, so it's...
So it's now 8 minutes gone as the ball's finally back into Murphy's hands at full back. He's got a sea of players ahead of him, so he just bombs the ball outside his defensive 50 to the left flank. Goes to ground level. Who's going to win the ball? Hot contest. Standing up nicely there was Turner. He gets it off to a teammate. And up there's Monks, one-handed at it. Just couldn't get it, and it flies into the big post. And then he kicks the post in frustration, and he's almost... done himself some damage, like a groin strain from stretching himself.
I think he has, actually.
So that's a humorous way to end his day if he's done that, but Doncaster lead by a point.
As the kick comes out now here, I've had away evades Schimmelbusch, but into the waiting hands now here of Hall, who's had a good game this afternoon. His kick back in towards the direction of Kalange, the flyer over the top. Parker with the spoil. Well done by Faulkner to gather that footy back in and hand it back now here to Parker. He spears one in towards centre wing. Couldn't take a contested footy there, could Watkins. Conway comes away with it for Doncaster. Centres it in towards the centre of the ground. And a one-on-one contest. It's one out now here by Blackburn. Nice work there by Socio. He's got the footy. He kicks around into a waiting Dorian streams in towards goal. He puts it just wide, and it's Mark taken there by Bathy, right on the line there by Socio. He's got the footy. He kicks around into a waiting. Let's have a look here at the replay. Dorian streams in towards streaking down, and Bathy takes it just inside the line there, and he'll go back from about 15 out on the tightest of angles and trying to get his team back in front.
Unfortunately, they've taken twice now. They've gone inside.
And Bathy has put it through. Second goal of the afternoon. It's his third, of the afternoon here for Bathy. And, well, that's got Blackburn right back in front. 9-7-61. They lead Doncaster 7-14-56. Just under 10 minutes played here, final term.
The medical staff are going to have to keep an eye on Monks here. I think he might have done himself a little bit more injury through his own stupidity here, Davo.
He could have. As I said, they went across goal. That was a poor contest, unfortunately, from Hartwig.
Yep.
You can't allow the ball to not keep the ball in front of yourself like that. Turnover goal, it really hurt him because they were all over Blackburn at that stage as well. So.
Yeah, it's a pity because he was trying to save the day. The kick was errant and he charged at it, but he'd never pick the ball up. He didn't bend over and pick the ball up, and he sort of spooned it back to the opposition.
And it was a good little outlet kick from Socio. He every time he gets it, he's been clever.
Yep.
So it's a 5-point margin. They're going goal for goal in this final term, with Blackburn now leading. But again, winning the centre clearance is Doncaster. They'll go to the injured, well, no, not injured, Kalange. He looks like his teammate in Monks, but he allows Lumachese to hand pass it under pressure. Back to Kalange, puts it on the right. He can't curl it and misses to the left for a 4-point margin. So they're having shots, 7-15-57. They trail Blackburn, who are much more accurate, 9-7-61.
Tell you what, their shots at goal are going to come back and hurt them. I'm telling you that now. I think look, they might get back over the line, but gee whiz, just a lot of gettable shots.
There's been several of them too that they've had more time than what they've realised.
There's 3 misses in the third from set shots, no good.
So Murphy's kick up towards the half-back line, a strong mark taken at the back there by Marcus Young in that pack. And he goes back to the 50, defensive 50, decides to play on. Hand pass out here to Marr, shakes one tackle, kicks this one in towards half forward. Contested footy, good work there by Conway to spoil that over the boundary line. We'll get a boundary throw in. So over halfway here in regulation. Here, fourth term, 4 points the difference out here at Moreton Park. And in comes the boundary throw into the ruck now. Over the top goes Conway, straight into the hands of Anarchus. Got a kick away, but it went straight to a Blackburn player. Comes out now here to Hart. His kick now finds in towards the 50. A good contest there. One out there by Ramboli, picked up by Hartwig. His hand pass goes over the boundary line before Marganis can get to it. And let's go boundary side of Matt Foddia.
Ewan McKenzie's about to come on with some funky patchwork to cover up that lip, so just look out for him.
All right, we'll give it a score out of 10 when we can see it. 12 minutes gone. There's Conway. Loses the footy. Anarchus punts it right back out now here to centre wing. Parker going back with the flight. Couldn't take the mark. In goes Lumachese. One out there by Hood. Hand pass down to Marr. His hand pass back to Murphy. And on now here to Faulkner for the Burners. They scoot up now through the centre. They turn the corner. And a good kick there from Hart. But almost ended up there with Lumachese. It looms up on the deck. Marr almost got legged. Play on, says the umpire. Ball on the deck. And we will have a ball up right on centre wing there.
I don't know whether that was good play by Hartwig or not. He stopped and then he managed to stop it and then got back into the tackle, but yeah.
And we can see the Michael Moore mask there of Ewan McKenzie as this one moves back now, picked up here by Tout, turns the corner up towards half forward. Intended target there was, I believe that was not Saville, it was Monks, and looks to be moving okay. And we'll have a boundary throw in half forward flank.
Well, I reckon Davo Hartwig has great attitude and effort, but he just that bit of touch.
Yeah.
Bit of finesse doesn't. It's eluded him so far. Good tackle applied to Danaher, who doesn't even get foot to ball. He's trying to clear half back, and the umpire said it's play on. You'll have to give it back to me, Banks, as he's very ginger to get up, and he's going to have to do the rucking against McKenzie, who is wounded himself. McKenzie always looks like he's totally dead of all energy, but he gets up to fight the day, wins the tap, gets the ball to a rover, and Doncaster make ground because it bounces out of bounds into the pocket in front of Conway and Lumachese, who says to McKenzie...
About 45 out from home, and just like that, the Sharks is out and he plays on quickly, kicks it in towards the vacant goal square, and he's put it through! Kalange. That's his second of the afternoon, and that might be the dagger through the heart of the Panthers. Sharks is Doncaster now 10-16-76, Blackburn 9-8-62, 23 and a half gone here, final turn.
He might have had a couple, he might have missed a couple, but I reckon he might have nailed the winner here, Kalange. 2 goals, 2 for the afternoon. Blackburn needs 3 goals here.
See how straight you kick it when you're passing the ball.
Yeah. I tell you what, I think Blackburn have been very disappointing after half time.
Gee, they've run out of steam.
They've run out of steam badly. They've had no run, no hands. Their forwards are not taking the marks. But Doncaster, again, I said about it with Dan before, unfashionable, but they do the job.
Yep. Whack run by McKenzie. Hammond gets onto the ball. He's been ragdolled to the ground. Marganis helps out to Whelan, gets it to Anarchus. In a best on ground performance, he gets it towards Monks, and Monks takes a big leap at it at half forward. And now they're playing spectacular football. The Sharks from the left flank, loads it up, hauls underneath it. So is his teammate Monks, or Vandehar, sorry. Vandehar just dropped it as it got to his hands, but he was soon to be the tackler, and he holds the ball in the area.
And put it this way, this guy, I think today for Blackburn's probably been their best player, Murphy.
Yeah, he's been good.
He's played 4 quarters of pressure football off the back line.
Ruck one by Blackburn, but they're only going to knock it to the boundary. And it's accidentally gone off the foot. Who's it going to? I didn't see whose foot it was off. So it's a discussion. Is it a Blackburn free? Yes, because it was Doncaster escorting it to the line. And it accidentally hit the foot, and it allows it to be taken by Parker.
As that kick, a dangerous one as Vanderhaar almost stole it. Hammond has to lay the tackle and bail his teammates out. Vanderhaar over the footy, as is Hammond. And, well, that was dangerous there by Parker.
That's a great result for Doncaster there.
Oh, yeah.
So, 14 points the margin here at Moreton Park. 25 minutes played, deep into time on. Punched out there by Banks over the line. Will get a boundary throw in.
Every player in the forward half.
So, Seth Malloy there in the centre square for Doncaster. But in comes the boundary throw. 14 points, as we said, the margin here at Moreton Park. It's pushed out. There was Banks. He slaps it forward. Murphy tried to soccer off the ground. In hard there was Reid for Blackburn, and we'll have another ball up. So just inside the 50 here for Doncaster. Conway doing the rucking. Went it down. Trying to get the hand pass out. Is Banks going straight off the boot. There was Monks. Here comes the kick. Hammond versus Kalange. Kalange can't take the mark and just forces it over the boundary. We'll have another boundary thrown deep in the forward pocket here for Doncaster. You can see the Blackburn faithful have gone a little quiet after seeing this display in the fourth quarter. It was only for 1 point the margin at one stage, and now it's gone out to 14 the other way. As in comes the throw. Conway doing the rucking, trying to burst through there was Danaher. That was kick was up and under, and Hammond can't take the mark. Got pushed out of the contest there, says the umpire. He'll get a free kick and a half-back flank. And well, they've just got to stream forward, Blackburn, if they have any chance of coming back into this one. It is late. There's the kick. And away come the Burners. A kick now up towards the half-back line. It's all Doncaster players. It's this one now taken by Wheeland off the contest. He gets wrapped up. And we'll have yet another ball up on the far side of the ground, the half-back flank.
There have been a lot of ball ups, so it'll be interesting to see how long we play in the quarter. But you'd think they've probably got enough, unless they kick a quick one, and then it gets tense.
Anarchis will keep the ball away from Blackburn. He shares it out. The kick goes the wing. Mark will be claimed under a heap of pressure. It'll go to Blackburn. And in no hurry to give the ball over to Saville. So he tells Murphy to go and get it himself, who hands it off to the runner and Ma. Ma on the outer wing runs himself in a bit of trouble. Good enough to sidestep the surging Doncaster play. Big leap! No, Hammond couldn't bring it down with him. Ground level shot at goal. It might have snuck in. Was it touched off the boot, says Doncaster. But the goal umpire signals all clear. And he'll get word on who it was at ground level as Hammond. Let's look at the replay for that big specky. And Baffy kicks his
That's his
fourth goal, and he now closes the margin. 8 points, 28 minutes gone. Possibly not enough time, but if they can get a centre clearance, it's game on.
So Bathy, from out of nowhere, well, he's closed the margin here to 12 points. Sorry, my math is terrible this part of the game. Now, hopefully that won't make the highlight reel. Here it comes, hand pass to Vanderhaar. Here comes the kick now in towards full forward. Conway versus Hammond. It spills to Kalange. He goes round the body, and he's put it through.
Really good goal, that.
That was
what a great goal there from Kalange. An instant response there from the Sharks. Comes the kick now in towards full forward. Conway versus deficit Hammond. Now out 11-16, 82, 10-8, 68, 28 and a half gone. And that was Kalange's third goal of the afternoon, and possibly the best.
Yeah, that was an excellent snap. He played the position well, got his front position, and he knew what he was doing too. It wasn't just a blind snap. He knew what he was doing. So, again, a quick clearance, puts the pressure on the back half. After half-time, I'd like to know how much... actually, I think they've probably kicked 8 or 9 goals after half-time, haven't they?
Yep, 8 goals.
Been a great effort.
They've kicked 5 goals this quarter, have they? So they've done well.
Yeah, they've kicked 5 goals, 4, Gav.
So they've got it out of the middle again. Conway led up, and he was tackled as soon as he got the ball. So it's a ball up 40 metres around from their goal. They lead by 14 points. Nearly 30 minutes gone. Roving the ball is Alessi. Loads it up from 45. 200-man Lumachisi drops the mark under a heap of pressure. Nearly roves his own ball. And the big tackle from Ma holds Kalanj in just next to the goal square. So it'll be a ball up close to the line for Doncaster's scoring end. They lead by 14. Will they be able to get it out of this ruck contest? Ball's bobbling around. Alessi just picks it off the ground, draws it in, gets tackled by the pack, and the umpire says, give it back to me. So 30 minutes gone in the fourth quarter. Blackburn have led at every change by 11-17, and then the last change by a point, but they now trail by 14 as Doncaster have come all over the top. The ball's flying around the pack, and finally Faulkner concedes a point, so it extends the margin out. Doncaster 11-17, 83, leading by 15 over Blackburn, 10-8, 68. Big round one victory coming towards Doncaster on Good Friday.
As that contest filled out there from Hall, picked up almost there by Ma, loose footy at the 50, and Whelan gets the hands out. Here's a shot here from Alessi, it's to the left, and just the minor score, and the lead extends now here. Doncaster 11-18, 84, leading Blackburn 10-8, 68. Nearly 31 minutes played here in this final term.
29 scoring shots to 18, and they're only 16 in front. Just shows the dominance in the second half.
Here's Nathan Hammond's kick now out deep. It's in towards a contested footy. Flying in from the side there was Fogarty. Loose ball on the deck. Into the contest comes Marganis, and we'll have a ball up.
That's a good point you make there, Brush. They missed so many opportunities in the first half and should have been in front. And in the second half, they've just about nailed every single one of them.
Yep.
So McKenzie versus Banks, as it has been all game. Here's a hand pass. Thorpe couldn't take it on the first bite. It comes back out now here to Danaher, who's been pretty quiet by his standards this afternoon. He's high up and under in towards centre half forward, evades everyone. Good tackle on Tout, applied there by Socio. And we'll have a ball up. Let's go down to Matt Fodey at boundary side.
Adam Banks is down the middle of the ground. Looks like he's clutching his right ankle. The trainers are just out to him now.
Thanks, Matt. So we've done the lion's share of the rucking this afternoon. Here comes Danaher, kick off the clearance. It goes down towards the forward pocket. Hammond claiming he was held, gathers it in with one hand, but he's tackled over the line by Malloy, and we'll have a boundary throw in.
It's been a bit of a war of attrition here for Blackburn this afternoon. They've lost a few. Watkins has gone off. Now Banks, Dunn has gone. You know, this could hurt them.
And Hammond and I'd say Danaher, they're two of their best players last season. Very quiet by their standards.
They've been well held this afternoon.
And last year they had the same problem. They got a lot of injuries, didn't they, last year, which really hurt them. So, no, that's not a great start for the club to be able to, well, we're hopeful that they're not long-term injuries.
We talked about Conker not in the side also this afternoon.
Well, Tamanello.
And Tamanello, of course, last year's best and fairest.
And Sam Hudson also, another key running half forward. He's due to come back into the side as well.
So 32 and a half played. Doncaster well out in front. Here's McKenzie, wins the tap down. As Danaher tries to win the ball at ground level and players pile in, we'll have a ball up in the forward pocket.
I reckon it might be time for the father to ring the bell now. What do you reckon?
Might come up with something different. The cannon shot in the fourth quarter.
Do not allow me any biblical references. I could go off tap here.
Van der Aert. He centres the body, and that was picked off by a man who's played really well this afternoon, Dorian McKenzie.
Yeah, he's been impressive for his first outing.
And McKenzie's wasting no time, goes back for a pop. He's kick.
Goal.
It's a goal. And McKenzie gets a late consolation marker here Dorian for the Panthers. That's his first of the afternoon and deserved, in my opinion. 11-18-84. They lead Blackburn 11-8-74. 33 and a half played here in this final term at Norton Park.
I reckon one of the things that happened after half-time was young Jordan Hart probably ran out of petrol tickets and wasn't able to continue on. Being an under-19, just hasn't developed the tank to run a full game out yet.
Yeah, look, they've lost run all over the ground though, haven't they?
Yeah,
Their midfield's not been able to get it.
So Parker has to do the rucking against McKenzie, and running it out is Reid, who just bombs a long ball, and there is the siren. Not a bell, it's finally a siren, and it is the final siren here at Blackburn. Winners are Doncaster 11-18-84, defeating the home team Blackburn 11-8-74. So round one a week earlier than the rest of the competition, but Good Friday is now great for Doncaster as they win by 10 points.
Oh look, they deserved it. They were Yeah, they've probably beaten convincingly, but not on the scoreboard in the first quarter. I think at half time we could tell that they still hadn't been blown out of the water, but they were getting close. They had to do something different. They started to get their hands on the football. They ran through the middle a little bit more in the third quarter and produced a bit of scoreboard pressure. And in the last quarter, I just thought they were too tough at the football. They were too smart down the forward line, and it was a very disappointing last half from Blackburn.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of their players, they're big players. Injuries, I reckon, have taken their toll as well. They just had no run. And when Chris Anarkis decided to impose himself on the game in the second half, especially that third quarter, you could see the writing was on the wall, and you were just wondering whether Doncaster were going to blow them off the park or whether Blackburn was still just going to keep hanging in there, and to their credit they did. But Anarkis basically really seized the moment for Doncaster this afternoon and probably won them the game.
And that's where Blackburn's Anarkis is Hammond. He just wasn't able to do that and influence the game, whereas Anarkis did exactly what we expected of him, came out there, and he's just... his sheer brilliance, his ability to use the football was outstanding today when it was necessary.
It was a bit of a tough day at the office for Anarkis as well, because after you win a Chandler medal, I think the attention that you get goes up significantly in the next season, and they were giving it to him at every opportunity. And what quality players do, you just can't keep them down. He took opportunities time and again, even late in the last quarter when he set them up for a goal. He's a quality player, and I reckon almost unanimous to our Tobin Brothers Player of the Day.
Most definitely.
Oh, I don't know about that.
It's not unanimous, but it's close too.
I actually think, right, I'll just pick up on a point there, Davo, that Hammond is Blackburn's Anarkis. Well, I actually didn't think this afternoon that Blackburn had a player that could respond to when Anarkis lifted his work rate.
No, and they didn't have anyone in that mid group. They've got some talented players, but they didn't have anyone that stood up and was able to do something special, and that's what they needed, someone to do something special, and that was not seen after half-time for Blackburn, whereas when you look at Doncaster, Fogarty getting the football like he was able to do under the contest was great.
Then one man who kicked 2 goals today, but he'll enjoy the celebrations for game 200, a legend of Doncaster, Josh Limachese, getting chaired off, and it'll take 2 big boys to hold him up for that long.
Yeah, they didn't carry him for that long. They and especially on the downhill walk, I could see it would have been like a train out of control there. But, fantastic for him.
After half-time, Doncaster, 8 goals, 12, 20 scoring shots to... 8 scoring shots, 5 goals, 3 for Blackburn.
And they were consolation goals late, weren't they?
In some cases, you're right, Gav. It just seemed like that the first half and the second half were totally 2 different games. Both sides played exactly the same, but Doncaster played it in the half that mattered the most, and that was the second half. And they got the points, and could be a very handy win, for Doncaster. They've righted the ship from last year. One of the things they said that they needed to do was stop the outside spread of Blackburn. They've successfully negotiated that. Dan and Matty Fodia on the boundary line.
What have you got? Boys.
We've got the song here coming up for Doncaster, and it's a great a worthy song. And a worthy win for this club this afternoon. They were bundled out in the finals by Blackburn last year, so they've exacted a little bit of revenge.
I think the grandstand's interfering with radio reception, so we're going to miss it unless we can hear it through. We'll stop speaking if we can hear it. But I just wanted to say, Davo, getting the numbers to the middle of the ground where they were getting totally thrashed Doncaster meant that they could control territory after that, because they were prepared to lose territory and try to run or pass back, but that wasn't working for them. So they needed to get more numbers to the contest where they were getting thrashed, and then the game turned their way.
Without a doubt, and I actually thought the player, for me, the best player on the ground.
It is.
I thought McKenzie was outstanding today.
Doncaster, so it goes Blackburn's way to centre half forward underneath it. Was was Hammond. He brings it to ground with Blackburn. Got the Rovers. Baffy again in line. 30 metres out, front position. Hardwick just looked on as he wrapped his chest.
That's where Fogarty got so much better in the last half. He really got underneath the contest. They could feed it out to Anarchis, who could do his brilliant stuff.
Looks like Lumisese.
All started to come into it and started to get some ball under the ground as well. That's where they got better. And as we said from last year, where do I see the improvement?
And he takes the mark! What a mark there from Jake Hammond. Won the contest. Picked up here by Gray. He gets a quick hand pass out, and here comes Blackburn. A short kick in, and that's marked there.
Elliot Kavanagh. Losing Kavanagh, who had that genuine speed, was going to hurt him. But today, after the first quarter, we saw some boys that had actually got some genuine speed. And
his players going in hard here in the Doncaster defensive area. That's finally cleared out by Conway, and his kick is just inside.
Kalan's got some speed.
Walks over the top of it. Finally, it spills out the way of the Burners.
Nice and solid.
Long kick by Hood from 50. And that in. I didn't think it was, so it petered off. It hit the ground.
Just putting so much more pressure on.
Adds another tall forward line.
McKenzie wins the tap down.
They're going to be again one of those teams that are hard to beat.
Rushed into
not necessarily going to be the premiers. They're just going to be hard to beat. You're going to have to go really hard for full quarters every game to beat them.
And Hall now gets a hand pass out there to his teammate Whelan. He kicks in. That's the
here, ladies and gentlemen. It's
and that won't count.
10-point win to Doncaster. Doncaster 11-18, 84, defeating Blackburn 11-8, and the goal kickers for both sides. For the winners, Jake Kalan's with 3 goals, 2 each to Josh Lumisese, James Monks, and Harry Conway, and singles to Jake Hall, Ewan McKenzie. Whilst for Blackburn, 4 goals to Ryan Batty,
and that's the second
2 to Jake Hammond, and singles to Ben Danaher, Mitch Thorpe, Tim Watkins, Jackson Wood, and Mackenzie Dorian.
He's put it through.
A really good win, I reckon, for Doncaster.
Bathy second of the afternoon. Blackburn's
them in the first half of the away game.
Compton wins a free kick over the shoulder, gets it off the runner, and Marr loads up a kick close to the boundary line. Bit of a wobbler, but it suited his teammate, who took a chest mark 40 metres out boundary side. As Hammond was
just picking up from what Davo said about Mackenzie's best on ground, that epitomises heart, doesn't it? He was really sucking in the breath at half time. We wondered whether or not he could ruck the full game, but credit to him, he's done that.
Head, and Danaher puts Gossett. It's a turnover for Doncaster part of the ground that's got now. Hall's got it. He drives it to centre. Did he really look? But coming in late was Coleman. It falls to Kalanj from 55. Loads up all the way. It's a goal.
Is always really difficult.
Great.
We saw earlier on that
Bailey, he goes over the top now onto his teammate Lawler, takes a shot and centres the footy instead. And Hammond with a great mark, dead in front.
And he'll go to Anarchis back at the first contest, picks it off. Goes long to the goal. 1-3-3. Lumisese holds his ground. Ground level has been picked up nicely by Turner, I think, from the pocket.
31.
A bit harder.
As Anarchis wins the clearance out, kicks in towards half forward line. Not taken there by Vander Haar. Ball loose on the deck, picked up by Tout. Short pass in, and he finds Kalanj on the lead. And he's going to go with Doncaster after coming across from Coburg in the Northern Footy League.
Got up the players that were really influential in the game.
He scooted to the left.
He's missed a couple of sort of.
So here's Reid now with a kick out of the centre square, down towards full forward. One-on-one contest, unable to get it. Is picked up now here by Batty. He gets a quick hand pass out now here to Thorpe on the right, and he's put it straight through.
And they get and they've got 14.
Conway's there to help.
14 days now to recover. So hopefully those injuries aren't bad.
Fogarty looks up. He's got open men, and he finds one of them 10 metres out, all on his own to take an easy mark.
Davo, and obviously he learnt a lot today. It's a bit of a baptism of fire for him.
Almost taken.
I'm sure
Danaher got one in the
coached at a high level.
Surely, yes, that's
he'll
going to
know
be a
what he
free
has
kick.
to do to get this side back on track.
Oh, and look, they had a lot of players that are coming in for their first game. A for the club and B
unattended there in the centre square.
He
decides to play on and put one upfield. Ball in the direction of Lumisese. Shot, he's been pushed out, and the free kick given.
They do have some good
Parker has come back playing on the ground now. He put one upfield for Blackburn. As this one kicked in towards short, and a mark taken here by Conway. And he's going to go back for about 45 and take a pop now here for Doncaster.
Tend to need a little bit of time to recover, but he's got that time for him now. So look, it's
And
not
that
all
looks
doom
like
and
it is
gloom
straight
for
through the middle.
Blackburn,
First of the
but
afternoon
it's
for Harry
certainly one
Conway.
that,
And
you know,
he
Doncaster
improved
are
his
going to
team
say,
score.
hang
It is
on,
7-6
we've started
allows
early,
his
we're
teammate
playing
to come in
Blackburn at
Parker.
Blackburn.
Parker's going to use four.
We've got
Fourth
to win
running
on
an
the board,
open
and
goal.
it's one we
Uses
can
another
bank, and it's
teammate.
certainly
Baffy
a
doesn't
good
want to
one to
claim it
bank.
because he'll be
Go, Gav,
tackled. He
before we
taps it
do
on his
interviews
teammate,
from
but
the
it
boundary
beats him to the
riders,
line.
let's get into our votes
so that we can give man of the match, which is awarded for the Tobin Brothers $50 Coles Meyer card. And we'll start with our special commentators. Davo, who have you got for 3, 2 and 1?
All right, so I'm going third best on ground, and you might be surprised about this. I'm going Anarchus. I thought he was the catalyst that got him going. He's brilliance, he's all class. Did have a quiet patch in the last quarter, but I thought he was excellent. Second best on the ground, I thought was
centre of the ground, plenty of time and
I
space.
think right
He pumps one in towards a vacant
his
centre square, but he
control of
finds
the back
hole.
half was outstanding, and that nobody under his control actually took control.
Runs onto it, he got pulled off the ball. The umpire said, no, you're faking it, and he allows Blackburn to run out through the mullet. And the mullet will kick along
all day,
and he gets along
took over the game, and I thought he was outstanding.
He comes to kick into what's Limachese over his head, evaded Parker
Well,
as well.
just picking up from your point, Dave. Schimmelbusch for mine. I've given him the vote. So I wanted to get him a bit higher, but unfortunately I couldn't. But he's rarely ever beaten, is he? He's just an outstanding player, has been for a long time, and today just with the way the ball kept coming in thick and fast, especially in the opening half, he was rarely beaten. So I've snuck him into my votes. He was almost working like Gav Casey. 2 votes have gone I've gone to Mackenzie, who's was fantastic in the ruck. Was really sucking in the breast at half time, having a ruck the whole game more or less by himself, and he's been able to do that, and a big reason why Doncaster has gotten over the line. But 3 votes to Anarchus. He received a lot of attention all day. He lifted when it counted the most, and look, if you're going to wear orange boots, you may as well rise to the occasion, which he's done.
All right, my one vote. I found a Blackburn player. I thought I found Murphy one. I gave Xavier Murphy 1 vote for Blackburn. I think he was their only 4-quarter performer. 2 to Chris Anarchis and 3 to Ewan McKenzie in the ruck. Sensational all day.
So we'll go boundary side, interrupt our votes. We'll go straight to boundary side, not to hold up the Doncaster place. Brett Beston, boundary side with the interview.
Thanks, boys. We've got Chris Anarchis with us, one of the stars of the Doncaster side. Mate, what a great third quarter that was.
Yeah, we were a bit flat first half. We knew we had to respond, and we knew we had it in us as well. So we thought if we just stick to what we do well and back ourselves, we're still right in the game. We had every chance to win it.
Blackburn seemed to have a lot of run in that first half, but they seemed to just run out of puff at half time, and you guys did the exact opposite. I mean, you just seem to find energy from... I mean, what's your pre-season been like? It's obviously something you've worked really hard on.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure everyone would say their pre-season's been pretty tough, and you try to work on those things. I don't think they ran out of puff. Same as when we played them last year, they ran over the top of us in the second half. So it's pretty much we can get on top and play their game style for longer than the other. And we've got very similar game styles, you can tell. So it's always going to be a toss of the coin whenever we play each other. So it's good to come out on top today.
Sorry, Baden, hopefully we can get a chat with him, but the big boy McKenzie, what a game he had.
Oh, yeah, he's a superstar, big Frankie. We missed him a couple of years ago when he went away and just with injury, and I didn't play last year and started finding his feet again, and to have him out there is just super as a midfielder.
Fantastic. Boys, up to you.
Chris, it's Brett Davidson here, mate. Congratulations on a fantastic game. We've talked about your game and Mackenzie's game. We also thought that Schimmelbusch again was just that great steadying defender. He's been like that for years. How good has it been to play with him over those number of years?
Oh, exactly right. As you said, he's been doing it for years. You know what you're going to get from Shimmer, which is a real credit to him. He's rarely down in his game. If he's not finding the footy, then he's intercepting and getting a fist in, or creating a second and third contest with his second and third effort. So it's absolutely awesome to play with blokes like Frankie and himself, and the Cheese and blokes like that you just know whenever they lace up their boots, they're going to go out and have a crack with you.
And after half time, I thought before half time it was you probably needed to get your hands on the football more than anyone in the middle, and you were doing that. You didn't have a lot of help, I didn't think, but Michael Fogarty after half time I thought was outstanding at being able to get hands on the football and feed it out to you, considering you were heavily tagged most of the game. So I thought he was excellent as well.
Yeah, he's another super player for us. Our midfield, we sort of focus on playing our roles as a side because we've all got different strengths and weaknesses. So when we're playing our good footy, we've got that nice balance. And, as I said, another super player that you love playing with because he gives it his all every week.
Well, Chris, a fantastic effort by Doncaster this afternoon. You've exacted a little bit of revenge on Blackburn for knocking you out of the finals, but a really impressive win, especially in the second half. So congratulations to you and the Doncaster Football Club, and we look forward to speaking to you and hopefully after another win during the season.
Yeah, let's hope so. Thanks, boys.
Thanks. There we have it. Chris Anarkis there, the winning captain from today's game between Doncaster and Blackburn. Gav, let's go on, keep going on with the votes. And Steve, who are your votes for this afternoon? 3, 2, 1.
So, like you, Brash, I found the same player from Blackburn to give a vote to. Xavier Murphy, I thought was fantastic, crossed the half-back line in a losing effort. Never took his foot off the accelerator, but just didn't get the support he needed. So I gave him 1 vote. I gave 2 votes to Chris Anarkis. I think everyone else has touched on the reasons why he was so prolific in the game. I gave 3 votes to Michael Fogarty. I thought he was an absolute workhorse in the centre of the ground. A lot of stuff off the ball too. So that he gets my 3 votes for this afternoon.
Gav, how do you see it?
Yeah, I could have changed my votes. Very persuasive arguments for other players, but I thought Mackenzie was solid. He didn't do anything exciting except dominate the ruck, and that to me is always vitally important. I mean, that's just playing your team game. So the ones that caught my eye though today was Fogarty and Anarkis. 2 to Fogarty and Anarkis. You notice when he's on top because he's got the orange boots and he bursts packs and he hits up targets. So for me, he was the best player on the field.
Now he's going for a try.
I'll count up the votes because that was my job, and I'll tell you now that it was 2 votes to Murphy, 3 to Schimmelbusch, 5 to Fogarty, 9 to Mackenzie, falls short because Chris Anarkis with 2 nominations for best on ground gets 12 votes and wins the Coles Meyer voucher.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Best player adjudged by the EFL media team this afternoon. Chris Anarkis wins the Coles Myers Cup.
He comes in,
quickly going to
bends it around, umpire straddling the right post. The Trojan horse. It's a goal.
Trojan workhorse. Is that goal of the day or play of the day?
We won't do goal of the day until we get into the full the season. But we'll name, I'll start off with Mackenzie being the workhorse because he was the workhorse today.
Yeah, I'd agree. It was either Mackenzie or Fogarty. I thought, Mackenzie was a workhorse and Fogarty after half time for me became that in and under player that really worked extremely hard.
Yeah, Mackenzie for mine as well. He was absolutely fantastic in the ruck, as we said, and seeing Greg Jarvis in the tracksuit, he really could have used him out there today, but he rose above that.
And that's probably a good sign for Doncaster. They win without Greg Jarvis. Get him back into the side. That's a lot more stability and gives Mackenzie a real chop out in the ruck. I agree with you. I think Mackenzie, I think he was workmanlike today. You don't carry a ruck for 120 minutes and still finish on top. I think that's Trojan-like. That's my vote for this afternoon. What about you, Gav?
He was so influential, people were trying to punch him, and that means that he was dominant, so he wins the 150 toolkit, if not only to Mendy's face, with a bit of a chisel and a hammer.
Yeah, I reckon I would have given the tape person 8 out of 10 for that. It was a fair job.
They needed to put holes in the tape so he could breathe. You know when it gets underneath and pulls their nose up?
I agree, Mackenzie. No dispute from me.
Yeah, Gil Mackenzie with the $150 Trojan horse work kicked this afternoon, and it's been a great day out here at Morton Park this afternoon, and tell you what, the action next week, Dan, doesn't get any hotter because we are going to a humdinger of a game next week. It's Vermont versus Baldwin, and what a lot of
30 metres out,
interesting things happened into this last game for both these clubs.
Oh, certainly. There's plots above plots among plots in this game next week. Vermont taking on Baldwin, of course. Rocket taking over as coach. Marty Pass going over to Vermont as the forwards coach as well. Gee, it doesn't get any hotter than that, so get down to Vermont.
His job commitment.
What a mark there from Jake Hammond.
Obviously his job commitment wasn't as pressing as one thought.
I think if Dan is doing his job properly, next week think you shouldn't be bringing one person on at a time. I want to hear Hask and Reid being interviewed at the same time. Now that is a coup.
And the chances of that are Buckley's and
well, Buckley coaching. Finally, it spills out.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to wind up the broadcast this afternoon, and let's go through the thank yous this afternoon. Brett Darvington, thank you once again for your list of cameo this afternoon. Good luck to you at the Scoresby Football Club this season, and we hope to have you back on sometime during the year.
Thank you very much. It's been absolutely sensational. I love being here and looking forward to having a chat to you all at some stage during the year. So good luck for the rest of the year for the call.
And for our media manager, Dan Sensick, it starts all over again for you, mate. 6 months, you've had your time in New York and your fun over the Christmas break. And once again, thank you very much for your contribution this afternoon.
Thank you, Brash. Yeah, it's been an enjoyable off-season, I must admit. But back into the footy now for 6 months, and it doesn't get any better than this.
Here's McKenzie, his kick is a good one.
Congratulations and welcome back to you. Great call this afternoon. Enjoy it.
Yeah, blew out the cobwebs. It's one of those ones where you forget the game and how it flows and what words are best to describe it. And we're trying to capture the numbers, but they always play with our minds and change the numbers. The laundry must be trouble because they change the numbers on the first game. I don't know what's going on.
Imagine putting the record together for the first time this year with everyone submitting their list. It could
be doing that tonight, Brash.
It could be a nightmare. Steve, always great to have you on the calling team, mate. Thanks for your contribution this afternoon.
No, thanks, Brash. Great to be back for season 2018, and we're just getting started.
He didn't move. He just steadied himself as the ball floated over his head. And
it is good to be back on EFL football. In season 2018, and ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be in for a really crackerjack year. Bruce Press from Lost Productions, thank you. And away we go. We'll see you all next Saturday.
His hand pass now here to Bailey. He goes over the top now onto his teammate Lawler, takes a shot and centres the footy instead. And Hammond with a great mark.